for this edition of Miami RedHawk Radio pregame. I'm Luke Lewis. We got a good one here tonight on this beautiful Friday in Oxford as Miami welcomes the St. Cloud State Huskies, who currently sit ranked the number 16 team in the country. We're here for the first of two on Friday. We'll have another one here same time tomorrow on Saturday night. School is back just 2 weeks in. Students are glad to be back on campus. The barn was rocking just a week ago as Miami welcomed the number 2 ranked North Dakota to Steve Cady Arena. Unfortunately, Miami took 2 losses, but hard-fought games nonetheless. Rush is over with as all the freshmen find their houses, or don't. Back half of the hockey season approaches. Miami has about 4 more, including tonight and tomorrow, series until it heads to the NCHC playoffs. Let's look at Miami in their last 10. 2-8, but have played pretty hard as of late. They're just 1-14-1 in conference play. So hopefully they could right the ship tonight against their NCHC foe. But they've been playing some solid, tough hockey. Played very well in that first game against North Dakota. As I mentioned, packed arena, sold out on Saturday night. First time in a couple years here. That happened at Steve Cady Arena. On the St. Cloud State side of things, as I mentioned, 16th in the country, but not playing too hot of late. Brett Larson's club has been 3-4-3 in their last 10. However, 8-4-4 in conference play, so they've been getting it done in the NCHC. Just last week, they took a trip to Colorado Springs to take on Colorado College, and they split a pair over there. Now Miami, as I mentioned before, coming off an exciting 2 games against North Dakota. In game 1, they lost 5-4 in overtime. They had a 4-2 lead with about 6:32 left in the second off a John Waldron shorthanded goal. The barn was rocking after that one, and they kept that lead until halfway through the third period before defenseman Logan Britt held the puck in and then walked in and sniped one. As time went on in the game, Miami was hanging on with a 4-3 lead. With the goalie pulled, the captain for North Dakota, Reese Gaber, tapped one home with just 59 seconds left to tie the game. And they headed to overtime. In overtime, back and forth chances both ways. A nice Max Dukovac play setting up Axel Kumlin was almost the difference maker. Just a close glove save by the North Dakota goaltender. And with a long time in the offensive zone, a lot of tired Miami players out there, this led to a 2-on-1 the other way. And North Dakota star Jackson Blake, who's a Hurricanes draft pick, fired one under the bar as North Dakota comes in here. Heavy favorites, however, stuns Miami, who had a 4-2 lead in the game. Then on Saturday, more of that North Dakota team we're used to seeing, a 4-1 win for them. However, not without a fight from Miami. Still played solid. Albin Nilsson, the Swede, scored to make it 2-1 in that game. Looked like things were coming back to them. But then Logan Britt, his second of the game and third of the weekend, made it 3-1. A bit of a broken play during that goal. A couple Miami defenders ran into each other, and that was about all she wrote. A nice empty netter capped off the win, 4-1 for North Dakota. So, not the result Miami wanted, but Chris Bergeron stated to the fans that if they weren't entertained by the 2 games last weekend, something was wrong. The barn was rocking. The boys played hard. Hopefully we're going to see some more of that tonight and tomorrow. We're going to take a break here on Miami RedHawk Radio. When we return, some players to watch on both sides. A lot of draft picks on the St. Cloud State team. Going to be a fun one here in Oxford. Welcome back in, folks. We got about 20 minutes until game time. The Zambonis are just about halfway done after both teams came out and took some shots on goal. Miami's band playing some tunes. The alma mater out here as some more fans trickle into the arena. We'll see how packed the barn is tonight. Obviously, a top-ranked team in St. Cloud State, so should have some packed fans. Maybe not as much as North Dakota. We'll see, though. Hopefully the barn is as rocking as it was last weekend. Nonetheless, we got some hockey soon. The Nets getting skated on the ice. It's going to be a good one. Now, as I mentioned before, St. Cloud State, 16th in the nation, second in the NCHC. They got some great players on their team, and it all starts with the captain, number 4, Dylan Anhorn. Anhorn, the oldest member of this Huskies team at 25 years old, and on defense, nonetheless, leads the team in points with 24 in 26 games played. It all starts with him on the back end. He is the motor that keeps this team running. he will set the tone for the Huskies tonight. On the offensive side of things, number 10, Kyler Kupka, has 23 points in 26 games, 11 goals, 12 assists. Been a very consistent, good player for the Huskies squad. They'd like to lean on him tonight more. And to Finland, Vidi, hold on, I don't want to butcher his name. Mietinen. That is going to be a tongueful, rather a mouthful for my counterparts tonight. The Maple Leafs draft pick, number 29 out of Espoo, Finland, leads the team in goals with 13 and has 7 helpers to go along with it. They're going to rely on him on the power play. Hopefully for them, he can fire some past the Miami netminder. Back on defense, number 23, Jack Pert, the Minnesota Wild draft pick. We know him from the World Juniors as he showed his face twice in the World Tournament. He's going to have to play solid on defense, more of a stay-at-home defenseman, but has produced some points as well. And then in goal, number 31, Dominic Basie, the Chicago Blackhawks draft pick, standing at 6'6". Miami is going to have to find a way to get him to move, maybe open up his 5-hole. There's probably not going to be much room up top against the 6'6" goaltender. He sits with a 2.65 goals against average and a .901 save percentage. Very solid numbers out of the Blackhawks draft pick. Now, on the Miami side of things, the players are going to hopefully score some on the big netminder. Number 8, P.J. Fletcher. He's been consistent all year, leading the team with goals 11 and points 22. Big forward standing at 6'2". It seems like every time Miami has needed a big goal this year, number 8 has gotten it done. And we welcome back number 29, Matthew Barbolini, who's back in the lineup after being injured. He sits with 21 points in 21 games. Goals a point a game so far this year. He brings not only scoring but physicality to the lineup. However, he's going to have to stay out of the box as he leads the team with penalty minutes. Nonetheless, I'm sure Chris Bergeron is happy to have him back in the lineup, forechecking, causing turnovers, and getting some goals. Now, John Waldron, number 17, the skilled forward, is sitting with 17 points this year. They're going to have to get him involved on the power play with that wicked shot. We saw him score that shorthander against North Dakota. There was no chance he was deacon on that one, just fired one home right past the former Miami goaltender. Now, as I mentioned before, the Swede Albin Nilsson has been hurt most of the year, but has wreaked havoc in the lineup since returning with 7 points in just 8 games. The 6-footer, again, is going to have to use his big frame, get in front of the net, get some shots on Dominic Basie, create some chances. On the Miami side of things, in goal, number 30, Bruno Bruveris, is in for the injured Logan Neaton. He played pretty solid against a unbelievable North Dakota team last weekend. Obviously led in 5 and 3 goals in those 2 games. However, a lot of shots faced. Miami is going to have to do a better job of allowing him to see shots from the point, from the outside, get guys out of the front of the net, and help out of their goaltender. Now, news from around hockey. The NHL All-Star Weekend was just a few weeks ago, and they changed their format a little bit. Only had 12 to 14, I believe, participants in the skills competition, with none other than Connor McDavid taking home first place. Who was surprised by that? Not me. Although he was challenged by Cale Makar, the stud defenseman, The NHL is just in a golden age right now with the talent that is coming up the pipeline. It is great to see it, and we got notice that players are going to be allowed to play in the Olympics and the Global Series coming up. So a lot of good news for the future of hockey. And we also saw in that All-Star skills competition, Nikita Kucherov, the NHL leading scorer, getting booed for his lack of effort. It was hard to understand why he wasn't trying. I understand the boos. He is leading the entire league in points. It was a tricky thing. Oh, as the horn goes off, the youngster tucks one home in Miami's tradition with Ryan Sullivan skating him out there. All right, we're going to take a break after that, and we'll be back with scores from around the college hockey, rather. A look ahead for Miami, some keys to the game. We'll be back. We are back, folks, as some students trickle into the arena. We got about 10 minutes until game time here in Oxford. But first, let's look at some scores from around college hockey tonight. So we got some big matchups in the NCHC. Omaha travels to play Western Michigan. That game's kicking off shortly. Penn State travels to Minnesota to take on the number 9 ranked Gophers in that contest. And in the state of Michigan, a great rivalry. The Michigan State Spartans travel to enemy territory Ann Arbor to take on the Michigan Wolverines. That should be a good one. Michigan State, shocking. I know myself, maybe some other people with how good they've been playing this year, sitting at the 7th ranked team in the nation. They play with some grit over there in East Lansing. Notre Dame travels to Wisconsin. Similar story in Madison, as Wisconsin ranks number 5 in the country. It's good to see Wisconsin be back up in the college hockey world. A great university, great hockey program. It's good to see. Now, last Monday, one of the best traditions in college hockey at the TD Garden in Boston, the annual Beanpot semifinal games happened, as you have the 4 teams from Massachusetts, Northeastern, Harvard, BU, and BC. In the first game, Northeastern versus Harvard. Great game back and forth, and Northeastern tucked one home in overtime to play in this upcoming Monday. And then on the other side of things, an anticipated matchup everyone was looking forward to. BU versus BC. It's just studs up and down the lineup on both sides with a ton of freshman talent. Obviously, on the BC side, you have that top line of Will Smith, Perot, and Ryan Leonard. They did not disappoint. Down 4-1 at a point in that game, but came back, just fell short though. So this upcoming Monday, we'll see Northeastern and BU back at the TD Garden for the championship of the Bean Pot. A look ahead for Miami. After this weekend against St. Cloud State, they head to Denver in 2 weeks for a 2-game series there before returning home for 2 against Omaha, which will be the last home games of the season. Should be a packed barn there as the intro starting to jazz up the fans here in Oxford. And then finally, trip to Western Michigan for 2 games just before the NCHC playoffs. We can't make any assumptions yet, but we can guess that Miami will probably have to play either North Dakota, Denver, or St. Cloud State in the NCHC playoffs. So about 3 weeks, about a month to figure it out. And you never know. I've seen crazier things happen. This Miami team, Chris Bergeron's squad, has been playing some hard-nosed hockey. So maybe they can shock some people in the playoffs. For tonight, some keys of the game. Miami needs to set the tone early, really get the crowd going. We saw against North Dakota when Miami scored that first goal in the first game to go up 1-0. The crowd was really into it as they head onto the ice here. Definitely got to sharpen it up on defense, not as many breakdowns. Finish their checks, block shots, crash the net, just hard games. As the horn blows, just about time for hockey, about 6 minutes. Hopefully Miami can play a full 3 periods here tonight in their home whites. Lastly, some lines for tonight. First line, centered by Albin Nilsson. Ryan Sullivan on the right wing, Thomas Daskis on the left wing. Second line, PJ Fletcher on the left wing, John Waldron center, Arthur Taransky on the right wing. Third line, Matthew Barbolini back in the lineup on the left wing. Ryman Vitalins, Max Dukovic. And I believe we're heading to Anthem. That's going to be it for me, as I'm going to send it to my counterparts shortly. Enjoy the game, everyone.
From Cady Arena for the second straight weekend, the Miami hockey team back in action on this Friday night. They will host a St. Cloud Huskies team that has been slipping away from tournament contention in the new year of 2024. The Huskies have not won in regulation since December 31st. They will look to stay within the ranks of the NCAA tournament on the road this weekend against the Miami RedHawks. Luke West, Poley, Jeff Middleton with you. And Jeff, Miami feels as though they might be in a better position than the record might indicate. Last week coming away with 2 of their better efforts of the season, taking the second-ranked team in the nation in North Dakota to overtime. And this week, crucially, they get back probably their 2 best offensive players in Matthew Barbolini and Raymond Vitalins.
That's exactly right, and I think we talked about this last weekend and the kind of performance that they had without those two players. Just excellent performance from up and down the lineup, whether it was the 8 defensemen that they were playing with or their 3 full forward lines and a couple extras. Matthew Barbolini and Raymond Vitalins bring extra skill, extra size to this lineup, and they might be listed as the 3rd line right now, but playing with Max Dukovac, I'm sure they won't be used as one.
So Miami will try to pick up points in NCHC play for the 3rd straight weekend and try and get their first win since January the 13th for St. Cloud State. They got an overtime victory over Colorado College last weekend in a split on the road as part of a 4-game road trip that they'll close out this weekend. And the Huskies will look to jump up above the bubble right now as St. Cloud currently sits ranked 16th in the nation, right on the edge of the NCAA tournament conversation. We'll pause for the national anthem and be back with Puck Drop right after this. Stay tuned. Miami and St. Cloud State from Cady Arena coming up shortly. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Alongside Jeff Middleton, I'm Luke West Poley. Great to be with you on this Friday night as Miami gets set to meet up with St. Cloud State for the 2nd time this season. St. Cloud State took both of the initial meetings back at the Herb Brooks Arena back in 2023. Starting goaltenders tonight for St. Cloud. It's the senior Dominic Bassi, 6'6", 190 pounds, the Colorado College transfer and Chicago Blackhawks draft pick from Alexandria, Virginia. Carries a record of 11-9-2, a 2.65 goals against average, and a .901 save percentage for the Huskies. For Miami, once again, it is Bruno Braveris, the 6', 173-pound freshman from Riga, Latvia. This is his 9th start of the year. He's 1-7 with a 3.61 goals against average, 877 save percentage. His first collegiate appearance came against St. Cloud, back the first time these two teams met. Officials tonight for the referees, it's Mike Sheehan and Brian Hankes. For the linesmen, it is Troy Merritt and fan favorite Eric Frank, who's got his cheering section up in the Miami student section. St. Cloud State with the red uniforms script St. Cloud State across the front. They move left to right. Miami back to the irregular home jerseys with the red M on the front. White helmets, white jerseys, and white socks with red gloves and pants. And the red numbers on the back as Miami moves right to left. Puck is down. Off we go from Cady Arena here on this Friday night. Faceoff is won back into the St. Cloud State end, where the Huskies will pick it up below their own goal line, and it's pushed up the far side of the ice. Barrett Hall, the freshman and draft pick of the Seattle Kraken, pushes it in deep behind the Miami net. Along the far side, it's Hampus Reichquist digging away at the puck, but it's Hall who pulls it free and brings it behind the net. Puck is tucked away from him. Waldron gave it away for a moment, but Taransky applying some pressure up near the point, pokes it out to center, where St. Cloud State will regroup with it. Both teams going for changes. Just about 40 seconds gone by. Zach Okabe skating it down the left side, and he'll shovel it into the Red Hawk end. Bruno Braveris will head out of his net and paddle it to his right. It's ripped down by Richard Simonovic looking for a pass to Albin Nielsen. He missed him, and it goes down for icing. 52 seconds in. Scoreless and shotless between Miami and St. Cloud.
The St. Cloud team may not be as good as North Dakota was last weekend, but you really need to have a good start here, because we saw just how quickly this game can change against North Dakota last weekend. All it took was a really good start for Miami to kind of get the lead and then keep it for most of the game. So if they can get a good start here, especially against this really talented St. Cloud team, it means all the best for Miami.
Drive from the left point off the face-off by Anhorn is deflected high. Now it's Okabe behind the net. Puck is rolled on edge next to the doors, and he was able to pull it free. Behind the net, this is Kupka. Now a wraparound try by Anhorn flew through the crease, but no sticks found it for either team. On the far side, it's skated up the ice by Reichquist, who gets it out to center. Now Daskis down the right wing, enters the zone and throws it through off the crossbar from a sharp angle. Saved in the left point by Dempsey. Nielsen will spin it back in deep for Miami, but it's picked up by Dylan Anhorn. The St. Cloud captain will bring this puck in and dump it before going for a change. A giveaway behind the Miami net by Braveris, and a pass out in front. Luckily for the Redhawks, didn't find anybody as Braveris was stuck below the goal line. Puck is still in the Redhawk end now on the near side. This is Ewart leaving it off for Ingram. He circles and leaves off center point for Falk. His wrister is partially blocked and trickles to the left side. Now it's put to the near wing. In the near corner, this is Ports trying to dangle through two defenders. It's taken off his stick by Daskis, but he can't clear. Shoved back in deep by the Huskies. Dempsey directs it to the far side for Sullivan on the half wall. Now Nielsen comes in to grab the loose puck, and he will force it out of the zone as the Redhawks go for a quick change. Ewart hands for Ports, who enters the zone down the right wing. He is spun around and dropped by Vitalins. Once again, Raymond's back in the lineup for the first time in a little while after missing some time due to injury. Moulton with a shot from the left wing. That got tipped. Dukovac throws one out in front, but Tollins couldn't get a stick on it. Moulton now from the left circle, tried to play it up for Clement center point, but he missed him and Dukovac, who was pinching, or who was recovering back, I should say, for the pinching Moulton. Then it goes back out to center. Miami has dumped it back in. It's Bassi behind the St. Cloud net. Directs for Wiley on the far side, whose initial clearing attempt was blocked. It comes back to him, and now he holds in the near corner. Pass up ahead finds Molinar. He'll direct it across the center red before it's taken for the Redhawks by Moulton. Touch pass for Barbolini. He'll spin it into the St. Cloud end as the Redhawks go for changes. We've crossed the 3-minute mark here from Cady Arena. And no score yet between Miami and St. Cloud State. Teddy Lagerbach, the Arizona State transfer, with a dump in for the Redhawks. On the far side, a big hit by Tanyan Baser. Back in the lineup for the third straight weekend for Miami. It's Messenberg in the far corner. Threw it back up to the point, but it was a vacant right point for the Redhawks. This will go all the way down the ice, and Reichquist will have to chase it down. 3.5 into the first period. No score on Friday night between Miami and St. Cloud State. Baser will backhand it in for the Redhawks as his team goes for changes. This gives a chance for Falk to move this one forward, and now Miettinen flying down the center of the ice. Leaves off for the other Miettinen, who fires from the left wing high and wide, and that will end up out of the zone. Werner and Vidi. Werner the freshman, Vidi the senior, two brothers from Espoo, Finland. Vidi leads this team in scoring on the season. Pass to the far side from Fletcher. Couldn't connect with Waldron cleanly, but he will direct it into the far corner of the St. Cloud zone. Huskies pick it up from there, though, and a pass goes awry out past center. Kumlin lifted his stick up and
Just a
got a
little
fortunate icing call there. Stick was up at shoulder height. If he had probably just relaxed the arm and let it drop, it would have hit the puck, but that is called icing, and it will go down to the RedHawk offensive zone. 15:44 to go in the first, no score.
And that play from Middleton here on this near side wall, it's why they lose a lot of chances, because they get one chance and they create a good rebound, and Dukovac fires it over and doesn't wrap it around, but it's a good look. But just a missed pass, and we weren't seeing a lot of that last weekend either. It was a lot of missed passes to the point, but that one you just can't keep happening.
Drasner risks one in for the left point. It got tipped off of Mietnin in front, but the save was made by Bassi. Now in the near corner, this is Mietnin up to the point. Drasner holds the zone for now, but Okabe directs it rink wide. And a nice sidestep by Lutke. He'll head down the left wing. Lutke risks one in from the right circle. That's blocked by Clement, who stood him up. It's flipped out past center. This will go down and be just short of icing. It's Wade as Anhorn sees forecheck applied by Daskis. Daskis takes a tough spill next to Anhorn, who will grab the puck. He's now got time to work. Pass to the far side, missed the intended target. He was looking for Salquist, and that will go for icing on St. Cloud. 15:04 to go first period. Shots in favor of Miami 2-0, and still no score.
I'm honestly a fan of how Coach Bergeron has managed putting Barbolini and Vitalis back in the lineup, mainly because those first two lines are lines we saw last week and that really kind of drove the offense, especially Daskis and Sullivan with Nilsson. Those guys have been good so far tonight in the about 5 minutes that we've played, but also last weekend they were phenomenal.
Puck pops free below the goal line, and a shot comes through by Barbolini. Pad save Bassi. Near corner, Ryquist chips one in from a sharp angle, and a shoulder save made there. It's wrapped behind the St. Cloud net, and back to get it. Lutke will settle it down. Anhorn on the near half wall, banks it up ahead for Okabe, who will punch it into the RedHawk zone. Simonovic's back to get it for Miami. Simonovic feeds to the far side for Ryquist, and now a rink-wide pass looking for Barbolini, and he didn't get a touch on it. It'll go down for icing with 14:33 to go in the first.
It's Barbolini's first good chance of the night.
Yeah, just got the puck below the goal line after a good forecheck, walked out in front and tried to stuff it towards the left post. But Bassi came out to stand him up. Dominic Bassi, who was at midseason, yeah, he's a big goaltender at 6'6", 190. Named to the Richter Award watch list. He's had a solid year.
So I think it's good to see Barbolini throwing the body around, especially on Dylan Anhorn, who Coach Bergeron said that they need to watch out for, a team's leading goal scorer on the back end. You don't see that a lot. But captain, team's leading goal scorer, he's a talented player and a super mobile skater. So good to see him kind of trying to make Anhorn uncomfortable.
Got an untrafficked shot off the faceoff by Wiley that was gobbled up by Braveras. This is a St. Cloud team that traditionally, both under Bob Motzko previously and now under Brett Larson, has had fantastic defensive six and goaltending. And that has certainly continued into this year. Mentioned the struggles for St. Cloud lately. They haven't won in regulation since December 31st, and only one win in overtime since then that came last Friday against Colorado College. But because of the Huskies' play early in the year, they still find themselves very much in the NCAA tournament conversation. Ingram brings it in down the right wing. He'll leave it off for Anhorn, and his shot through got blocked as the mass of bodies out in front stopped that one. Beg your pardon, that was Ethan Aucoin that had the shot from the middle of the ice. Barbolini will grab it and send it up the far side. Good hustle by Messenberg to get to that puck before it hits the goal line. And now he will kill some time in deep before the reinforcements arrive. Teddy Lagerbach pulls the puck free for Miami. It's loose in the far circle. Lagerbach trying to dance around, but a puck got tied up in his skates. Redhawks do grab it, though. Moulton from the near side. His wrister is blocked on a sprawling attempt by Rogers. This will go down the ice. It will not be icing, and it will be touched from Clement to Moulton. Moulton for Baser up the near side, just outside of the Redhawk blue. Rogers pushes it back in, and Moulton, along with Messenberg, the combo effort gets it back out to neutral ice. Now to the far side, this is Jack Clement, saucing one forward. That is picked off by St. Cloud's Tynan Ewart, the freshman from British Columbia. Sends it through to the Redhawk end, where again the Redhawks quickly clear back out to center. Falk bangs it back in deep as we hit the 7-minute mark of the opening period. No score between Miami and St. Cloud State. Redhawks with the shots advantage at 4-1. Waldron with a cross-corner dump from near to far side. Taransky with some forecheck. Now Waldron will join. St. Cloud can't clear it. It's held in on the left point by Robbie Drasner. Loose puck on the far side, though, is whipped back out to center, where Taransky will give back to his defense. Drasner skating down the near wing through some traffic. He will backhand it on in. Fluttering puck is collected off the end wall by Falk. He'll rim it around on the far side of the ice for Hall. It is saved with the glove on the right point by Reichquist. His drive was saved with the glove, but not cleanly by Bassi. Puck is still alive, bouncing in the slot. Now it's directed near point for Drasner. He walks down the wall, now back towards the middle of the ice, leaves off left point for Taransky. He'll hand for Waldron, who will further drop for Reichquist. Reichquist crossed the ice for Waldron on the far point, skates down the half wall, directs it out in front. Taransky got a stick on it, but it went high. Miettinen gloves it down. Waldron trying to apply some pressure, but St. Cloud will chip this one out to neutral ice. Very good shift by that RedHawks second line, especially by Waldron and Taransky, as Miami brought it back in briefly, but now it's taken away by St. Cloud. Okabe gets stood up at the blue line by Reichquist, and he will send it down just short of icing. It is directed ahead on a quick stretch pass. Kupka leaves for Okabe, drags, and it's poked off his stick by Braveris. He had Braveris beat to the backside, but the paddle saved his life. Backhand pass from behind the net, missed the intended target in the left circle from Kupka, and it's back out to neutral ice. Now it's Kupka again down the left wing. He'll rim to the near side for Okabe. He leaves off for Anhorn. Nice move, Anhorn towards the middle, shoots. It's off the crossbar and into the protective netting. So Miami, after a great shift, sat back a little bit, and St. Cloud had probably two good chances to really make him pay, Jeff.
There's that mobility again from Anhorn. Daskis didn't get out there in time, and he just used his shiftiness to get to the slot and absolutely rifled that one off the crossbar. Yeah, a couple chances there that the RedHawks are lucky didn't go in.
We've reached immediate timeout here from Cady Arena. 11:08 to go first period. Shots are 5-1 in favor of the RedHawks, but we do not have a goal yet between Miami and St. Cloud. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. 11:08 to go first period, and 0-0 between Miami and St. Cloud State. Alongside Jeff Middleton, I'm Luke West Poley with you on Friday night here on Red Hawk Radio. Defensive zone faceoff coming up for Miami following a shot off the crossbar by Dylan Anhorn into the protective netting right before the timeout. Miami wins the faceoff back to Axel Kumlin, who will leave for Zane Dempsey behind the Red Hawk net. It's banked off the near wall, finds its way out to center for Dukovac, made a move at the blue line, and Vitalins was a step ahead, offside on the Red Hawks with 10:59 to go in the first.
Luke, you know how much I hate making moves at the blue line like that. It's so frustrating, especially with a guy like Dukovac and a guy like Barbolini on the other side, just two extremely skilled players. But yeah, moves at the blue line, really, those grind my gears.
Certainly going to grind Raymond's Vitalin's gears, who was not super pleased with that as he entered the zone a step ahead, but not his fault. Neutral ice draw here on the far side of the ice. And it is won by Vitalins. Faceoffs even at 4 so far as we approach the midway mark of the first. Miami dumps it in. St. Cloud State, though, with a surgical breakout, but it breaks apart at the last second as Piard couldn't hold on to it at center. Miami will whack it back to the Huskies, though, and backing up into his own zone, it's Cooper Wiley that will head forward. Wiley charging ahead, rips it down the left side. Puck off the glass to the near wing, where it's Dempsey handing off for Kumlin. Dempsey got hammered on the near wall by Molinar right as he was getting rid of that puck. Miami chips at the length of the ice, and it's icing on the RedHawks with 10:20 to go in the first.
Molinar's been throwing his body around. Just hit Dempsey there, and then earlier in the game, kind of went unnoticed, but he stood up Jack Clement, who is not a small player and a hard dude to knock down, but over by the Miami bench, he just hit him and made him fall. I'm impressed so far. At 6'1" and 190 pounds, you wouldn't think he could do all that, but physicality is that fourth line's bread and butter, and Molinar's leading the charge. Assistant captain for a reason.
It's a St. Cloud team that has been extraordinarily physical under Brett Larson, and it's interesting that they do that considering that they play on a larger sheet at home than the normal 200 by 85. Miami cleared, but now bringing it back in, St. Cloud had a chance on a shot through the middle of the ice by Miettinen. It went over the top of the cage, though. The RedHawks will get it back out to neutral ice. Miettinen, Vitti leaves for Werner. Now it's Vitti again on the near wing, up ahead for Werner down the middle. He drags to the near side. Werner Miettinen stops in the near corner, and he is knocked off the puck by Simonovics for Miami. Puck is loose behind the RedHawk net, and it's Waldron who will grab it. Fletcher knocks it off the glass up ahead for Taransky. Puck is tied up in the skates of Lutke. Taransky was trying to pull that free, but he couldn't, as Lutke backed all the way up into the slot area in front of his own net. But it is St. Cloud possession right now as both teams finish up their changes. 9:16 to go, first period, 0-0 between the Huskies and the RedHawks in the second meeting. Second weekend, I should say. Third and fourth meetings coming this weekend of the year. Kupka in the far corner was stripped away by Taransky, who will pitch it out to center ice, where the Huskies will take it back over. Striding down the near side, Kupka leaves for Okabe, threw it towards the middle of the net, where he had a teammate breaking in Salquist, but had missed him into the far corner, and the RedHawks push it ahead. In deep in the St. Cloud zone, Nielsen going after it. Now it is Clark, and Salquist poking it behind the Husky net. It is rimmed to the near side, where Clark grabs it for St. Cloud, and he will fire it in. Braveris stops it on the NCHC logo behind the RedHawk net. Some light forecheck applied as Dempsey rounds the RedHawk net and heads through neutral ice. He backhands to the near side for Vitalins, kicks it to himself, and collects in the near corner, trying to bank it off the wall up to the point, but the pass was cut off by Aucoin, and he clears it back out to center. RedHawks bang it back in, arriving first. Vitalins fake to go to the point, now grabs it and heads in deep. He's pinned by Piard along the wall. Dukovac arrives for help, but a good job by Aucoin to step in the way, and St. Cloud will take it back in the opposite direction.
That could have been a penalty down low. Max Dukovac was being held below the goal line.
RedHawks cleared around the near side. Falk elects not to play the puck, and the officials are going to waive the icing. So he will fire forward for Eward, who throws it in. Braveris got a partial tip on it behind the RedHawk net. A lot of just long passes and dumps going on right now as Miami gets it out to the far side. It's Ryquist dragging through, tried to feed one in front, but a good sprawling block by Falk as he directs it to the far corner. Lagerbach tried to throw it in front, but Eward arrived and cut that before it reached the target. Puck comes just outside the zone for Miami, and the battle that ensued takes the pile from outside the zone to in. Offside is whistled with 7:20 to go in the first period. Shots are still 5-1 in favor of Miami, but we still are scoreless.
Yeah, not as eventful of a start as the last couple games against North Dakota have been. Feels like these teams are both trying to feel each other out, and I'm sure for St. Cloud, like you mentioned earlier, they play on that wider sheet at home, and you know that definitely makes a difference. It gives you a lot more room to make passes and spread out the neutral zone and all that strategy stuff. But Axel Kumlin on Wednesday said that was their biggest advantage, was taking advantage of the rink size that they have here compared to what St. Cloud plays on.
It's an advantage certainly to play on a bigger rink on your home ice, but that means there's an adjustment as well when you got to go play anywhere else, as the number of large rinks in college hockey continues to shrink as the years go on. Pass up ahead is touched in by Miettinen. Might have had a 2-on-1 opportunity if he could handle that cleanly, but the RedHawks will push it back out to the St. Cloud zone, where Lutke pushes to the far side for Dylan Anhorn. The fifth-year sidesteps around Taransky. Down the left side, he shoots, and it's directed into the netting off a stick check by Dempsey. and we get a stoppage. 6:31 to go, first period, with St. Cloud and Miami still searching for the game's first goal. Stay tuned. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Poley, Jeff Middleton back with you. 6:31 to go, first period. Miami and St. Cloud knotted up at 0. Just a reminder, Luke Lewis has your Red Hawk Radio intermission report coming up as we wrap up this first period. Not nearly as exciting, Jeff, as the first periods that we were treated to last week. It's been 8 minutes to the second since we've had a shot on goal from either team, as Miami has the shots lead at 5-1, and the Red Hawks win the draw and get it out past center. St. Cloud recovering in their own end. It's Lutke reversing ice to the far side. Now a giveaway by the Huskies as Hall just fluttered a puck through the middle that Fletcher pushed in deep.
Oh, man.
Two Huskies collide on the far side in a very prototypical type of play with how this first period is gone. But St. Cloud does get it through center and gets it into the Red Hawk end, where a battle ensues behind the Miami net. Kumlin and Waldron are working against the wall on Sahlquist, and Waldron will pull it free to the near corner, but now the help arrives, and Kupka lays a crunch on Waldron, and the zone will be held for St. Cloud as Ewart kept it in on the right point, but Kumlin will carry it ahead with space now for Miami. Kumlin exits the zone, crosses the center red, and sends a high end-over-end puck that bounces off the end wall on the St. Cloud end, as it is now been 9 minutes since we've had a shot on goal. 5:25 to go, first period. No score between Miami and St. Cloud State. Huskies get it into the Red Hawk end. Kupka didn't have the body position, and Nielsen took it away. He put it behind the Red Hawk net, where Ryquist had some trouble trying to play against two Huskies, but he does get it up ahead. Red Hawks can't clear as Wiley holds the zone on Nielsen's attempts. Pushed in deep once again. It's Simonovics behind the Miami net, skating up the right side. Pressure alleviates as he heads back behind the Red Hawk net once more with under 5 to play in the first period. Simonovics just sitting there with Bruno Braveris, his Latvian countryman, trying to play some interference on Aucoin. Red Hawks do get it out, but it's taken away by the Huskies, and it's Ports down the right wing. Throws one on. Bad save made by Braveris, and finally a shot goes up. It was 5 seconds away from being 10 straight minutes without a shot on goal, but St. Cloud breaks the streak just short of it. Now it's thrown through traffic on the wrister. Stop made by Braveris. Rebound to the far side, and Piart scores. Braveris didn't know where it was. It went low to high in a hurry. And from the left circle, a rocket one-timer. And St. Cloud State has taken the lead off the third goal of the year for Wild draft pick Jack Piart.
And those are the turnovers that we didn't really see last weekend against North Dakota. Just a couple plays from behind the net, and you can't get the puck out at the blue line. Just slow. It was like the start wasn't bad. I mean, it was 5-1 in favor of Miami, and then within an instant, it's now 5-4, and St. Cloud has a lead. And that's just, if you want to beat these teams in your division, you can't do that. You have to be faster. You have to move your feet quicker. That's been a consistent thing for Miami, especially against St. Cloud. It's just frustrating.
So the assists go to Ports and Wiley at 15:38 of the first. St. Cloud takes a 1-0 lead over Miami here on Friday night. Huskies have it back in the Red Hawk end on the far side wall. It was directed towards the middle of the ice by Riemann, but the RedHawks do clear it away. And now St. Cloud will push it right back in deep. Clement leaves off for Moulton. He'll blindly pass it up the far wing where Dukovac is waiting. Barbolini stopped his feet and gave it away as the Huskies enter the RedHawk zone. It's Rogers playing it to the front, and now a chip play by Hall towards the front post. Rivera might have got a piece of it. It ended up wide. Dukovac puts it back in the far side corner for Clement. He plays catch with his deep partner Dylan Moulton. It's Moulton on the near side. Up ahead for Barbolini, who will touch it into the St. Cloud zone as the RedHawks go for changes. 3:18 to go first period. 1-0 the St. Cloud lead over Miami. Behind the net, Lagerbach slashes the stick out of the hand of Vernier Miettinen, and that will bring the game's first penalty. With 3:12 to go in the first, Miami will head to the kill.
Another late period penalty. We saw that last weekend, I can tell you that much.
Miami's penalty kill was pretty good last weekend, so that is at least something you can hang your hat on. They're 81% on the season. Teddy Lagerbach sits 2 for slashing with 3:12 to go in the first. St. Cloud trying to add on to a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, the RedHawks just look slow. They just like the puck, when they're trying to pass it, the puck's slowing down, and then they have to stop moving their feet. They just aren't, feels like they're being more reactive than proactive, and that's cost them a goal and 3 shots in a flurry, and now they have to go to the penalty kill.
So the faceoff is won by St. Cloud. They're 21.3% this season on the power play. It's Lutke, center point for Piart. Over to the far wing. Okabe back up for Piart. Now Okabe with a one-timer. He didn't get all of it from the left circle, and it is blocked wide. Now it's thrown out in front towards the slot area. Spin around attempt by Salquist. Got deflected, and the loose puck is grabbed and cleared by John Waldron. With 30 seconds gone by in the penalty, Miettinen brings it back in. Kumlin lays a huge hit to knock Okabe off the puck, but St. Cloud does recover the loose puck, and they have it out near the point. Miettinen up for Piart. Wrister down low. Okabe shoots and scores from the bottom of the right circle. Quick puck movement. This time it's high to low. And Zach Okabe, the 5th year's got his 7th of the year. St. Cloud just 47 seconds into the power play doubles their lead to 2-0.
I don't understand how he's that wide open at the bottom of the circle. He got hit by Kumlin. We saw that. Man, nobody's on him, and Kumlin just loses him. They're doing an umbrella power play, and Okabe's the second guy from the net. He's the middle guy, and he just kind of backs into space, and Kumlin doesn't pick him up. It's just he had all day to shoot that puck. Rivera's had no idea that he was there either.
He caught the puck facing the point and had enough time to turn his body entirely around, and wrist that one through. And tucked it into the post on Berveris to make it 2-0. Puck is cleared in. Porch tries to wrap it in front. It got to the net front, but Aucoin couldn't get a stick on it. He had a sure goal if he could have directed that one on net. Vitalins will clear it back up ahead for Miami. And man, this RedHawks team has looked very slow in the last 10 minutes of this period, as St. Cloud seems to be moving at double the pace. Shots are now even at 5, but the Huskies lead at 2-0 with 1:42 to go in the first. Assists on that last goal go to Werner Miettinen and Jack Piart. And the RedHawks have it now, and will circle it back towards their own end. It's Rehnquist directing up the far side for Sullivan, and he will further force it in behind the Husky net. St. Cloud quickly will get it up the far side of the ice and break out to center, and again, it's another dump in for Miami. Behind the net, Daskis hit by Carl Falk. Alaska Fairbanks transfer. Puts it ahead, and now a jump the other way from Molinar. He rounds the RedHawk net with just over a minute to go in the period. To the near half wall, he shovels it in behind. This is Jack Rogers. He can't hold on to it on the near wall. Rehnquist hit by Miettinen. And Werner is stripped by Rehnquist going the other way, and the RedHawks will bring it back behind their own net and just hold on to it for a little bit. Now up the far side, Waldron leaves off for Simonovic. Simonovic sidesteps, wrists up the far side. He's way short of the center red, and that will go for icing with 31.8 seconds to go in the first period, and St. Cloud leading 2-0.
This reminds me a lot of the Colorado College series that we watched earlier this year. Just because I think the Tigers are faster than St. Cloud State in terms of just general speed, but the RedHawks just look so slow, and they can't. All they're doing is dumping and chasing. There's no even attempt to bring the puck in with possession, and when there is, it's quickly thwarted. So we'll have to see how they adjust. 31.8 seconds left in this period, and the rest of the game.
Face-off win by the Huskies in the offensive zone with just under 30 seconds left in the period. It is put down low for Kupka. He gets a shove in the back, but keeps possession. A one-timer from Okabe. Kind of a knuckle puck out in front was saved by Braveris, and then a whack to the glove of Braveris by Sahlquist, and the RedHawks took some exception to that and went after him.
You got to get something going here, and if that means Johnny Waldron getting in the face of Okabe or Sahlquist or whoever that was in front of the net, just you got to do it, because they look not just lethargic. There's no energy at all. It was after that one shift by the Waldron line with Taransky and Fletcher, where they had a couple chances there, and then after that, just everything went downhill in terms of energy and momentum, and I'm not entirely sure why, but it's not the start you wanted.
Face-off win directed to the far side. Kupka, it's a center point for Lutke. Wrister through, got tipped, but it went wide. Behind the net with 9 seconds left in the period. It is poked off the stick of Anhorn by Vitalins, who pushes it back out to center, and that is how the period will come to an end as Miami survives at least to stay within striking distance still with 40 minutes to go, but RedHawks needed that intermission in a bad way as Miami had very little energy in the final 10 minutes of that period, and they trail St. Cloud 2-0 after 20 minutes. Almost felt like a switch was flipped halfway through this period, Jeff, where the effort from both teams wasn't really that great to begin the game, and it felt like the game was somewhat open in that if you had a good shift or two strung together, you probably could be the team that would take the game's first lead, and that ended up being the case. It was St. Cloud that started to get that energy in the back half of the period. Miami largely sat back on their heels.
Yeah, and I think that we've talked about it for weeks now and months probably, is just the execution that this team has. When you have an open game like you did in those first 10 minutes and you're not able to convert on any of your chances, you have Daskis hit the crossbar, you have a couple of passes thrown errantly through the middle of the ice that nobody's able to get to. Just like losing those chances is frustrating, and I'm sure considering how they performed last weekend and even weekends before that, I'm sure Chris Bergeron and his coaching staff are not happy, and I'm sure the fans aren't either, because they've seen better from this team, and that was not a good period. That was not a period that was a good representation of what this Miami team can do, and this next 40 minutes really got to be something different. Just anything to spark any sort of energy at all. Just one shift at a time, and you got to just grind away now.
RedHawks last weekend came out very hard out of the gate. Pretty much the complete opposite this weekend. After 20 minutes here from Cady Arena, our score is St. Cloud 2 and Miami 0. Time for our intermission report. Jeff and I back for the second period puck drop coming up in just about 10 minutes time. For now, we send it over to Luke Lewis.
Welcome back in, folks, to this edition of the intermission report on Red Hawk Radio. I'm Luke Lewis. The crowd feeling energy right now as the first period intermission game is commencing, as a fan is shooting pucks into the net. Anything to keep the fans engaged. Packed barn here at Steve Cady Arena. Not as much as we saw against North Dakota, but a pretty good showing. However, a 2-0 lead for St. Cloud State after one. Let's look back at how this first period started. It was a good start for Miami. They came out, legs were churning, they were throwing checks, good forecheck really executing a lot of the keys to the game. Just high energy, which is what this RedHawks squad need to do to be successful. A lot of big hits, especially by Barbolini, showing his presence back in the lineup. They started 4-0 in terms of shots on goal to start the game, so they really did dictate the pace to start early. They could have had some better chances. There was a great passing play in the O zone, a lot of behind-the-back passes by that John Waldron line, which resulted in him firing the puck towards the net with a deflection that just sailed over the net. Very close. That was probably Miami's best offensive chance in the first period, as well as another one that they were finally getting set up. Just had a missed opportunity as Dukovac, it looked like he was going to attempt the wraparound, however, passed it to the defenseman. And it looked like Miami's D-man at the top of the point was open for a big one-timer, but just a missed pass, and the puck traveled out of the zone. That was about it for Miami on the offensive chances. On the St. Cloud State side of things, honestly pretty slow for them to start the period. They had two great chances early on, but some great goaltending by Bruno Breveris. Probably the most dangerous one early was quickly evaporated by a great poke check by Breveris. Now as the first period went on, St. Cloud State really showed their physicality with assistant captain Joe Molinar with some big hits, especially on Miami's captain Jack Clement. The big body of 6'4" was taken down a few times by Molinar, really showing why he has that A. Then as the game went on, we had about a 10-minute stretch without a shot on goal in this contest. It was wild. Not bad hockey, just kind of back and forth. No really high danger chances until late in the first with about 4:22 left. A high danger chance from St. Cloud State. They fired one on net, got the rebound, wrapped it around right up to Jack Piart, the Minnesota Wild draft pick on defense, and he tucked it home to give St. Cloud State the 1-0 lead. Then, not long after, Miami took a bad O-zone penalty. Teddy Lagerbach, a slashing call in the last remaining minutes of the first period. I know Chris Bergeron cannot be happy about that. Two bad areas to make a penalty in the offensive zone and in the last couple minutes of the first period. Miami's definitely going to have to avoid those if they want to get back in this one. Which then, as St. Cloud State went on the power play, it set up a Zach Okabe goal, his 7th of the year. Pretty good passing by St. Cloud State. As I mentioned in the pregame, Miami had to not be as sloppy on defense. They were kind of running around on that penalty kill, which allowed Okabe pretty much to have a wide open look. He had a couple seconds to get that shot off, and he tucked it in the back of the net. Now, 2-0, shots 6 for St. Cloud State, 5 for Miami. Not a bad period. We're going to have to see some more effort and intensity, some more shots on goal for Miami, for both squads, really. Just 6 and 5 shots on goal is not that much. The goaltenders on both sides not getting tested early as the Zams are almost finished. We got about 8 minutes till the second period. We're going to step out real quick. When we get back, we will talk about the upcoming Winter Classic and exciting news for Blackhawks fans in that one. Super Bowl coming up. And the Oilers, could they continue their win streak? We'll be back shortly on Red Hawk Radio. We are back on the intermission report for Red Hawk Radio. We got about 6 minutes remaining in this intermission as fans flood the concourse, grabbing their concessions. As I mentioned before, a pretty packed barn here in Oxford. Definitely going to need Miami to come out flying, really energize this crowd. Overall, in the first period, just a back-and-forth kind of game. Not a lot of sustained offense. It almost resembled a basketball game where it was just one end, the other end, one end, the other end, back and forth. A flow to the game, but not really what you like to see. When I say basketball game, I mean there wasn't a lot of sustained pressure with zone entries that lasted more than like 30 seconds. There was a lot of dump-ins, breakouts on both sides. And I mentioned before a 10-minute stretch without a shot on goal. So both squads definitely want to improve their puck possession in the second period. Get some multiple chances, multiple shots on goal, maybe for one line in a row, rather than maybe one shot, maybe a dump in and out and change. Obviously, we saw St. Cloud State. They got to set up on their power play. Hopefully Miami can go to the man advantage at some point. That all starts with hard play, physicality, forechecking, creating turnovers. You really want to put the pressure on St. Cloud State. Their back end is very sharp, led by Dylan Anhorn. We are seeing why he is their leading point getter as a defenseman. You could see his leadership. The veteran 25-year-old, he is really in charge of that D line, and obviously Jack Piart put one home. We got about 2 days until the Super Bowl. I'd love to know what all you think is going to happen in that game. The Chiefs are actually underdogs, surprisingly. I know the entire public cannot believe that, but it should be fun. Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, just stud players all over, and a great venue like Las Vegas. It should be fun. As I mentioned before, back to hockey. The Chicago Blackhawks are going to host the 2025 Winter Classic at Wrigley Field in Chicago as they host the St. Louis Blues. Obviously, Connor Bedard for the Blackhawks, the phenom rookie, is out right now with a jaw injury, but they hope to get him back soon. We never know. With the Hawks sitting last in the standings right now, could they get Macklin Celebrini next year? I know I'd love to see Bedard Celebrini Winter Classic, and I know the NHL would love to see that as well. Maybe they could right the ship in the Winter Classic. With all the success the Blackhawks had in those dynasty years, they managed to go 0-4 in Winter Classic games. Just not their thing. They lost previously to the Blues at Busch Stadium as well. And NHL's hottest team, the Edmonton Oilers, were cooled off by that All-Star break, unfortunately, as they traveled to Vegas the other night and took a 3-1 loss. They were trying to tie the NHL's record for longest win streak, fall just short, but nevertheless, second longest stretch. Hopefully the Oilers can keep it going. We all know in the hockey world we'd love to see Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl in the playoffs. Hopefully just once-in-a-generation talent like that can get a cup in the future. Back to college hockey in the NCHC. Western Michigan holds a 2-0 lead over Omaha. In the Big Ten, Minnesota holds a 2-0 lead over Penn State. We got about 1 minute and 45 seconds until puck drop here. Some keys to the game. Miami's got to finish the period. They got to play a full 20 minutes. We really only saw about 15 minutes of them playing. They let up 2 goals in the last 5. That all starts with energy, physicality, staying out of the box. The refs hop on the ice here. Miami is in the tunnel. Hopefully we got an exciting second period for you here. I'll be back on the second intermission report. Hopefully Miami narrows the gap, maybe takes the lead. We'll see. That top line of them, we're creating some chances. But that's enough of me. I'm going to send you over to my counterparts, Luke Poley and Jeff Middleton. They'll have the call for you here on Red Hawk Radio.
Luke, thank you. Luke Poley, Jeff Middleton back with you for period number 2 with Miami down 2-0 to St. Cloud after the opening period of the weekend. And listen, Jeff, last weekend, energy was great. Execution at times wasn't where it needed to be. In that first period, execution maybe didn't even matter the way that the energy was for Miami. They are in need of some juice as they start this second.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I was going to say, like, even when they weren't scoring, at least especially Saturday, I think we weren't worried about whether or not they were going to come out and play with energy, because you knew that they were going to, because of how the first 3 periods went on Friday's game. And Saturday, even, they lost 4-1, but I don't think we ever said that they weren't playing with energy at any point during that game. Maybe there were stints, but other than that, especially not like tonight. This team and the team that we saw last weekend, as of now, are 2 completely different RedHawks teams. So hopefully in these next 40 minutes we can see something different, a little bit more exciting.
RedHawks win the opening faceoff of the second period, move it left to right in deep of the St. Cloud end. Miami in the home white uniforms, St. Cloud in the road reds as we are underway on period number 2. Waldron from the near corner dances around Wiley and now hands off for P.J. Fletcher down the far wall. Fletcher now circles at the point. He leaves for Ryquist, who lost his footing. Regathers now and keeps it in nicely at the left point as the puck rims around to the near side for P.J. Fletcher. He'll walk the blue line and chip back over for Ryquist on the far point. Ryquist with room to skate down the middle, winds and fires. Save made, puck loose out front, but the Redhawks couldn't get a rebound shot in. It's directed to the near wall, where Waldron will play it to the far side. Fletcher couldn't get it cleanly, lays a reverse hit on Miettinen to grow some space, and his pass back out to the point hit an unsuspecting Ryquist just outside the zone. So with Miami in the delayed offside, the Redhawks will take it back out to center, where St. Cloud will take it away.
Just another mess up at the blue line there. Just not a ton of communication, it seems like. Just there's been a couple plays where the defensemen have stepped to the middle and the forward sends it right to where the defenseman isn't. It's just frustrating.
Down on the far side, RedHawk goes down. That's Nielsen, who was tripped up. Arm in the air, that will bring a penalty, and this could be just what the doctor ordered for Miami. Minute 26 gone by in the second period, and the Redhawks will head to their first power play. It's a tripping minor penalty to Adam Ingram, and the Redhawks will go to the man advantage for the first time, trying to trim into this 2-0 lead.
Yeah, Ingram's been a really good player, so taking him off the ice is a good thing. 2022 third-round pick of the Nashville Predators. He's up towards the top of the team in scoring, 22 points in 26 games, so taking him off the ice for 2 minutes is a good thing. And, we saw last weekend as well that Miami's power play, even when they weren't scoring, it was generating momentum, and that's what you want to see. And so we got to get these good chances low to high, just like St. Cloud got later in the first period.
Miami 12.6% on the power play this season. Redhawks won the draw, but struggled to get set up, and the Huskies will clear, as it's Fletcher now fanning on a pass, and Salquist can carry it back into his own end. Anhorn from the near side can play it down. So Miami lost 25 seconds of the power play without really doing a whole lot. Now the Redhawks will finally have a chance to work this breakout and hopefully get something set up. It's Kumlin dancing through the center. He dumps this one in behind the St. Cloud net. Piard out to grab it. He has a quick touch pass over for Wiley, and he will easily clear.
Dumping and chasing doesn't work if you're not the first guy to the puck. They did that against North Dakota, and it worked because they were able to get to the puck first, but that just hasn't happened tonight.
Cross ice feed finds Vitalin's in space. He scores.
There you go.
Welcome back to the lineup, Raymond's Vitalins. He was the trailer off the rush, and Barbolini found him cross ice in the slot. He beats Dominic Bassi, high glove, and Miami answers on the power play with 17:37 to go in the second. It's 2-1.
And you said it earlier, Luke, it's exactly what the doctor ordered. And again, that play looks completely different than the play earlier where Kumlin dumps it in and the Redhawks don't get there. There's a spreading of the ice between the blue lines. Waldron finds Barbolini wide open on the far side. Vitalins comes to the middle. He's wide open and just rips it home. That's exactly what the RedHawks have been looking for this entire game, and that's what they look for in their system as well. And they were getting that last weekend, and I'm glad to see that they got it here. Hopefully they can keep that trend going, because that's a perfect look.
5th of the year for Vitalins, the junior from Latvia, who's back into the lineup for the first time in a few weeks after suffering an upper body injury. So it's 2-1 now as Miami converts on the power play. Both teams cashing in on their man advantage. Each team with one power play, and it was a success. 17:08 to go, second period. A drive in for the left point by Falk through traffic as St. Cloud has it back in the offensive end now, was blocked in front. RedHawks will play it looking for Dukovac, and icing is waived as this one went all the way down the ice, but some lack of hustle from the Husky defense prompted the linesman to give the washout. Up the near side, it's Dukovac, just short of the center red, pushing back for Clement. Cross ice feed for Drasner, D-to-D. He gets stacked up just outside the blue line. It's carried into the zone by Ports, but he is quickly stripped of possession by the RedHawks, who will move it up ahead down the right wing. Waldron leaves off for Dukovac just inside the blue, who backhands it back for Waldron, tried to force one out in front that Wiley directed back in behind the net. Waldron now on the forecheck, working against Wiley. Puck pops free, and it's Ingram out to grab it for the Huskies. He plays to the near side for O'Coin, whacks it with the hand right to Wiley. That's a hand pass on the Huskies. Puck will stay in deep in the zone with 16:10 to go in the second period, and Miami down 2-1. Shots are now even at 7 aside.
And the refs are pulling off.
Yeah, St. Cloud can't change because of the hand pass in the defensive zone, so they have to get their guys back on.
We'll have to wait another shift, but it looks like Dukovac has moved to play with Waldron and Fletcher. Not sure if that's going to stick, but that last shift, they were together for the whole 45 seconds.
Yeah, Waldron had a couple of shifts pretty quickly, not quite back-to-back, but close because of the power play, so we'll keep an eye on it. Face-off win, Daskis with a shot from the top of the circle into the chest of Bassi, who holds on with 16:07 to go in the middle period, and now St. Cloud can get a fresh 5 on the ice.
That's a good look. I like this line a lot. I think that no matter who you're playing as the first line, quote-unquote, whether that's Vitalins, Barbolini, or these three, and Nilsson and Daskis and Sullivan, I mean, I think that these guys are gonna find a way. If you're gonna get a line to really grind it out and play physical as well, this is the line to do it. And on an offensive zone faceoff, you'd like to see Nilsson win here and then just kind of win those battles along the wall and get to the front of the net, because that's what they're good at, all three of these guys.
Face-off win by the Huskies, but a good forecheck by Sullivan keeps it in deep. Miettinen now pushes it up to the right point. Dempsey saves it with his gloves, but it's Miettinen on the far wall now playing in behind, and now some room to skate for Lutke. He plays it up the near wall for Hall, touching for Anhorn, entering the RedHawks zone. He will slip it in deep where Drasner pokes it behind the Miami net for Dempsey. He skates down the far wing. Some pressure finally finds him, and his rink-wide feed hits off the skate of Drasner and ends up in deep in the St. Cloud zone. Anhorn gloves it out of the air behind the St. Cloud net and plays to the far wing for Lutke. Cross for Hall. He touches up for Miettinen, who skates down the left wing and now enters the RedHawks zone. He is upended by Ryquist in the near corner as the puck skitters to the far side for Albin Nielsen, and he will lob this one all the way down, trickling in near the St. Cloud net, but it was directed to the side. RedHawks do have a takeaway, though. Now a shot from the near side by Lagerbach goes well wide, up into the corner glass. Rogers directs it in behind the net for Ewart to the near wing. It is Carl Falk skating it ahead. He gets hit. RedHawks trying to hold the zone, did for a moment, but it was carried out by Rogers. He got hit hard at neutral ice and spun around by a couple of RedHawks, but did get it in. Simonovic rounds the Miami net, now hits the brakes and shovels back to the near side. Ryquist pulls it off the wall and directs it through center, too far in front of Messenberg, and St. Cloud will take away. It's Salquist to the far side for Kupka, tried to slap it back toward the middle, but it was kicked back to the far wall by Lagerbach. Huskies still with it. Piard from the near point wrists one through. It hit off the back of the skate of an unsuspecting Messenberg. Puck is slipped through ahead for Simonovic, but he couldn't handle the stretch type of feed. And a Salquist tip the other way nearly found Piard. He throws one from below the goal line in the far corner towards the front of the net that hit the pad of Braveris and popped down in front, but ends up coming all the way outside the zone and back out to the neutral zone.
Simanovic was pushed up and there wasn't a forward back. Rydquist kind of all alone. If they kept possession, the Huskies kept possession of that, it would have been a 2-on-1.
Wiley finds Ingram curling in the high slot. His wrister from the left side is blocked wide. Redhawks now with 8 blocked shots in this game so far to St. Cloud's 1. Shots on goal in favor of the Redhawks at 9-8. Ports skates down the right wing, leaves it off for Aucoin. He played to the left side, but couldn't connect cleanly. Off with Ingram. Now another shot comes through, and this time it's blocked down in front. Redhawks still can't clear as Ingram skates to the slot, drags and shoots and just missed the right post. It's chipped out of the zone by Max Dukovac, and the Redhawks can finally get some tired bodies off the ice. 13-16 to go, second period. St. Cloud leads Miami 2-1. And the dump in heads to the far side, where in the corner Jack Rogers trying to push it back to the near wing, but instead it will evade the zone and go all the way down. Bassi all the way out of his net in the near corner, plays it up the far wing. Through neutral ice, puck directs off the official, and now it's Taransky bouncing it back for Dylan Moulton in the Miami end. Forecheck, though, steals the puck for St. Cloud, and it's Molinar in deep for Rogers. Clement working on Rogers. Sees a collision next to the Zamboni doors with Moulton involved as well for Miami. Rogers pulls it away for St. Cloud, and just working 1-on-2, he will dive and poke it up the near boards. Molinar twists it back for Rogers up the half wall. Rogers looking to leave for Falk, but Taransky stepped in the way and hit both of them, and the Redhawks will take it away. It's sauced forward by Taransky, where Fletcher gets a stick on it to avoid the icing, and will now forecheck while his teammates change. St. Cloud breaks it out of the zone down the far wing, and it's Molinar gaining the red and dumping it. 12:06 to go, second period. 2-1 Huskies over Redhawks, and last few minutes have kind of felt like what the first 10 minutes of the game felt like, and a lack of execution on both sides. A lot of dumps and not a lot of clean looks. Kumlin back at center, leaves back for Zane Dempsey for Miami. He bounces it off the near wall for Albin Nielsen, gets a stick on it and ends up in deep where Wiley is pinned by Daskis, blended up against the wall. Huskies can't clear despite the attempt by Veneer Miettinen. Now a D-to-D pass up to the near side for Piart is played ahead for Miettinen. His forward pass ended up in the slot area. It was picked off by Miami, and now the Redhawks head the other way. 3-on-2. Dukovac tearing down the right wing between the legs, trying to drive to the front, but a good job by Hall to poke it away, and he will pass it through center for Miettinen. It's tipped away from him as the Huskies go for changes, but now Miami looks to have a little jump in their step as the pass through center is touched from Dukovac off for Matthew Barbolini. Down the right wing, Barbolini dangles through, leads for Vitalins. He shoots, and a save made by Bassi as Vitalins with the one-timer following a no-look pass from Barbolini. And in the right circle, it hit Bassi right up in the cage, but he makes the upper body stop, and that brings us to a timeout. 11:02 to go in the second period. Not only has Miami answered, really have St. Cloud pushed back on their heels right now over the last couple of minutes. It's 2-1 Huskies here in the second period. We're back after this. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. With 11:02 to go in the second period, our score, St. Cloud State 2, Miami 1. Luke West, Poley, and Jeff Middleton back with you. Redhawks got an answer here in the second after trailing 2-0 at the intermission with Raymond's Vitalins power play goal, and right before that timeout, Vitalins almost out a second. Miami has looked very good over these last few minutes. as they try to tie this game after a very lackluster first period. Left a lot to be desired, especially after the start they had in both games last weekend. St. Cloud State tried to clear, and the puck just got outside the zone following the face-off win. Max Tukovac laid a hit and touched the puck offside. So we will get a neutralized draw now on the far side of the ice with 10:52 to go in the second.
And that kind of move from Barbolini, just a little shift in weight to put the defenseman off his angle and back to Vitalin's for the one-timer. That's exactly what you're looking for from those two guys returning to the lineup. I mean, we already saw them connect on the one Miami goal on the power play, but at even strength, that's what you need as well.
Now a face-off win by the Huskies, and a stretch pass ahead was touched up offside by them. So we will have a neutralized draw on the near side. This has been just such a choppy first half of the game. We're about to hit the halfway mark of regulation with 10:46 to go in the second. There's been lots of whistles and bouncing pucks and just...
There's one thing North Dakota does well, it is prevent the amount of choppiness in a game.
The amount of skill and just clean tape to tape we saw last weekend is all but vanished from the game here at Cady Arena tonight. St. Cloud wins the face-off and pushes it in deep of the Red Hawk end. Barbolini lays a huge reverse hit in the far side. That was, I believe, on Kupka as the Red Hawks take it ahead. Check that, it was on Ports in the far corner. Miami got it into the St. Cloud end, but now the Huskies will break it out. It is Kupka down the near side, across for Piart, throws it in front. It got stopped by Braveris. Puck still alive. Wiley shoots from the high slot, and that got deflected high. Now stepping out into the net front, Kupka couldn't get a clean shot away. It's deflected off a Red Hawks stick and back out to neutral ice, where a hard cross-corner dump comes from Wiley as the Huskies go for changes. Vitalins can't clear for the Red Hawks. He gets hit hard by Falk. Puck comes right back to him, though, and he will lace it down the far side, where the Huskies will back up with it and now head through center. Molinar shifting down the left side, plays it out in front. A shot through from Riemann. Might have got a piece of Braveris up high, ended up over top the net. Drive down to the near post by Molinar, got stuffed by Braveris, and the Redhawks will break it out on the pass between Lagerbach and Messenberg. He gets hit at neutral ice and loses the puck. It's Ewart carrying behind the St. Cloud cage now with 9:21 to go in the middle period, and St. Cloud up a goal. So there's been an answer since the media timeout for the Huskies. Puck gets rimmed to the far side as Miami cleared the zone. St. Cloud couldn't touch it because that would have been too many men. Now a tire blown in deep for St. Cloud by Ludke. Nearly a takeaway and a chance on goal for Fletcher, but the help back does at least allow St. Cloud to clear the zone. Back in the Husky end, it's Anhorn leaving off on the near side for Hall. He skates across the center M, now down the left seam. Hall shifts, loses the puck into the corner, but regathers. Simonovic brings him down to a knee. Puck over to the far side where it's collected by Waldron, and now he's got speed forward. Waldron, he made a move at the blue line, and that's offside. Off the rush with 8:37 to go in the second period. You could tell it was coming with the way Waldron started to chop his stick a little bit, and you could see that puck with the way Waldron was handling it just was inching closer and closer, but never crossed the blue line. We get a stoppage with 8:37 to go in the second.
Moves at the blue line.
Get a false start on our draw. It's been also a lot of these wings have not been very cooperative with our officiating crew off these faceoffs. They've had to do a lot of them over again. So now the puck is down, and Miami wins the draw back to their own end, where Kumlin will race it down. He plays forward for Sullivan, tried to direct it to the middle of the ice, but Ingram plays it back to the near wall and now shoves it in. Behind the Red Hawk net, it's Zane Dempsey turning it away from Ingram. He heads down the far side. Dempsey looking for an option. He'll bank it off the near wall looking for Kumlin, but he missed him too far out in front. Ingram taps it ahead for O'Coin. Now Ports across for Wiley. He was heading in on goal, but he made a move at the blue line as well. And that's offside on St. Cloud with 8:10 to go in the second period. And the Huskies still leading 2-1.
Just a little bit of a stretch there from O'Coin. Try and drag it out a little bit, but unfortunately wasn't able to. And I'm sure that's just as infuriating for them as it is for me when when the RedHawks do it, or when any team does it. Really, it's just something you learn when you're young not to do, and sometimes it's hard not to do it. I get that, but it just kind of stops all momentum, and no coach, no player is happy when that happens.
St. Cloud wins the face-off and dumps it into the Miami end into the final 8 minutes of the second period. 2-on-2 battle in the near half wall is won by the Huskies, but now a steal away by Clement. Plays it to the front of his own net where Moulton will direct it in behind. His pass over to the far half wall got gloved down, and there was nearly a chance for Kupka, but he got hit. Dukovac now heads the other way, played one in front that was directed back to the near wall. Vitalins hits the brakes at the hashes, heading through the circle, leaves off for Clement. Right point, pushes back for Dylan Moulton. He goes across to the far circle for Vitalins. Vitalins will leave it right circle for Dukovac. Across to the far wall, the puck took a bad bounce on Jack Clement and hopped his stick as he was going for a one-timer. RedHawks now going for changes. And St. Cloud will break it out. Kupka getting after it on the near side, seals the wall and dumps it in deep as Drasner couldn't get it past him. Miettinen on the far side. Plays it down low. This is Vidi Miettinen down low for the Huskies, heading up the far wall. Circles and puts it back up to the point. Now Didi Anhorn for the near side. Waits and shoots. He fanned on the shot, and now Hall will grab the loose puck and wrist it wide from the left wing. At the left point, Lutke had it poked off his stick. Anhorn for Miettinen. Out in front. Anhorn scores.
Too much space.
More quick puck movement, and Dylan Anhorn, the Husky captain, cashes in. St. Cloud restores the lead to 2. It's 3-1 Huskies.
I didn't want to interrupt you there, Luke, but I about said that they gave him too much space on that point, and he just kept creeping in closer. He had the puck and then moved it down low, and then he just found some space in the slot, and that's what a good skater does. It's interesting when you watch him, he's not the most smooth skater in the world when it comes to just straight line speed, but man, his edges are fantastic, and he just found room in between the defenders and reinstates the Huskies' 2-goal lead. There's no reason a defenseman should be that low in the slot without anybody on him.
Anhorn's 5th goal of the season, most among Husky defensemen. He is also the points leader on this team. He's got 20 assists on the year. And so now up to 25 points on the season in game number 27 for the Huskies. RedHawks push it back in deep in the St. Cloud end. Wiley expertly navigates it away from 2 RedHawks over to the far wall, where Piart knocks it out of the air. Anhorn leaves for Piart, across for Bortz, but he couldn't get the shot away as Braveris was entirely out of his net. A fortuitous bounce for the Huskies, but they couldn't cash in on the backdoor play. Dempsey sauces for Kumlin on the near side. He plays it ahead for Fletcher, wide open on the center M. Fletcher makes his way through and shoots from the high slot. Bassi got his glove on it, but couldn't snag it out of the air. Huskies take it behind their own net and just rip this one down. It is icing on St. Cloud with 5:33 to go in the second. 3-1 Huskies. The lead for St. Cloud is once again 2, and we get an offensive zone draw for Miami on the left side.
And that's what really good players do. I mean, he just kind of came in and then passed it over to Vidi Miettinen, and those Miettinen brothers are super talented, and Anhorn was just able to find, there was not a lot of room there, but boy, he just was able to sneak through there. He drew 2 defenders on his initial move, and that's impressive in and of itself, but that's what good players do, and the RedHawks need to find a way to create that space for themselves.
Miami gets it in deep in the St. Cloud end. Clement over to the far side for Moulton. The pass hit him in the skates, so he couldn't fire. Down below the goal line, it's chipped up the wall where Nielsen seals for Miami. He plays it back in deep. Puck is rolling on the dasher. Daskis will settle. Up to the left point, Moulton. Cross ice, Clement right point. Back for Moulton. He drives through and leaves off for Clement center point. Clement will throw one intentionally wide. Whacked out in front. It's thrown across a wide open net by Albin Nielsen. And it is cleared out by the Huskies. Bassi was almost in the left circle there, and it was a sharp angle for Albin Nielsen, but he threw it right across the entire open net.
That's the one time that the high cycle has really worked, that they haven't thrown it off a skate or off the end of a stick, and results in a good chance, but just nothing there. Just not anything that they could put into the net.
RedHawks had a rush, but Dukovac's pass was behind Vitalin's. Now a move the other way for St. Cloud, but a 1-on-2 was quickly snuffed out, and the RedHawks have it on the near side. It is Dukovac swirling around as Werner Mietnin lays a body into him, and he'll take the puck and fire it in as the Huskies go for a change with their front three. Miami carries it out of their own end. It's Ryquist down the near side, slapping a cross-corner dump into the far wing. It's directed behind the Husky net for Anhorn. His clearing attempt got stopped by Ryquist at the half wall, who risks one in the direction of the net, but well wide. Waldron didn't handle it cleanly, and now it's Okabe skating it through center. He touches off for Anhorn, and he will lightly push this one into the RedHawks zone. Simonovic spins it away from two Husky forecheckers, and now finds Ryquist, who puts it back for Simonovic, who spent a lot of time today holding the puck behind the Miami net as he is right now.
He's really good at that.
He is. RedHawks are finishing up the change. Couple more guys go to the bench, and now puck is put up the far side where Kuhnlin's dump-in attempt was failed, and St. Cloud will bang it into the Miami zone. Kupka down the near side, rings it to the far wing. It's held in the zone by Ewart on the right point, but his pass up the half wall didn't connect cleanly. It's fired on ahead where Fletcher had a step, but Wiley recovers, and now Fletcher blows a tire, and it's taken the other way by St. Cloud's Adam Ingram. With speed down the left side, Dempsey with a nice job to lay into him and push him off the puck as the RedHawks move forward in a 2-on-2. This is Messenberg. Dancing, shifting, stops just inside the blue line, and a stick is lifted by Wiley, who will clear it about 10 feet further.
Some good defense being played on both sides here.
Lagerbach with the dump in, it ends up on goal, and Bassi makes the decision to cover with 2:34 left in the second period, and that brings us to a timeout. St. Cloud has re-extended the lead after the goal by Dylan Anhorn. The Husky captain has made it 3-1 with 2:34 to go in the second period. Back for the conclusion after this. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .234 to go in the middle period. Luke West, Poley, and Jeff Middleton back with you as St. Cloud State leads Miami 3-1. And the RedHawks have an offensive zone draw coming out of the media timeout. It'll be Albin Nielsen taking it against St. Cloud's Mason Salquist.
Once again, Chris Bergeron throws out that Nielsen, Sullivan, Daskis line for their offensive zone draw. It's interesting. I like the deployment, though, because you know they're going to get in hard on the forecheck. You're not worried about that.
Face-off win by the Huskies. Piart lost it in the near corner. Puck is high in the air up the wall where Daskis finds it and directs down low for Nielsen. Tried to force it out front. Now a second time. Nielsen gets a whack at it. Check that Sullivan as it trickles in. But Bassi will cover up with 2:18 to go in the second. So it's something for Miami. RedHawks are getting killed on draws right now. So the Huskies are 18 for 29. But some forecheck for Miami and a fortuitous bounce gave him a chance at the net front.
Just another one of those broken plays that we've kind of seen all game. This time, luckily, it was in the RedHawks' favor, but
Vitalin's wins the draw. Clement with a blast from the right point that hit a mass of bodies in front. Barbolini as it poked off his stick up for Middleton at the left point, who holds the zone. Lutke crumpling next to the Zamboni doors. Dukovac works his way free, but now is taken down to the ice as the Huskies will clear it back out to center. Clement sends it in. Play looked like it might have still been offside for Miami as they didn't properly clear the zone, but RedHawks will just alleviate now and let St. Cloud take this out with 1:45 to go in the second period. Huskies lead at 3-1. Giveaway by St. Cloud as they try to get it into the RedHawk end, but now Vitalin's will cough it up at his own defensive blue line. Barbolini, though, again will take away for Miami, and again another turnover. Vietnin down low. Bunch of players collide. 2 Huskies, 1 RedHawk. It was Vidi Mietnin in there for St. Cloud alongside Joe Molinar. Everybody's up to their feet. Jack Clement just holding it behind the Miami goal line, and now he'll flutter it out past center as the RedHawks go for changes. Just over a minute left to play as Ingram skates down the left wing side with space. He shoots. It got partially blocked by Middleton, still loose down below the goal line. Middleton's without a stick, but a pass goes awry up the far side, and Miami will have the zone cleared. Middleton didn't have a stick, so the puck comes to him, and he just kicks it in deep in the Huskies zone. 45 to go, second period, with St. Cloud leading by 2. John Waldron forechecking for Miami, and he does take it away. Waldron in the far corner, trying to get it up to the point, but a good job to wall him off by Carl Falk as the puck is just stuck along the wall. Finally, it's pulled free. Simonovics over for Ryquist on the near wall. Ryquist with a nice move past one, but Huskies were there to reinforce. St. Cloud State trying to clear, not quite out of the zone yet, but now Portzel back skated and go D-to-D with Ewart, who's got room to take it up the left side. He plays ahead for O'Coin. It tips it into the RedHawk end with 9 seconds left to play. If Miami stretches, might be able to get something. John Waldron was pleading for the puck, but it's just being held behind the goal line right now by Miami, and they kill the last 10 seconds, and the period comes to an end.
Guess who?
It was Rihard Simonovics again that was holding it behind the Miami net. He has spent a lot of time back there tonight. So Miami had the answer early in this period, and they had the energy, and then they started to back off, and they conceded another goal. Dylan Anhorn re-extended the Husky lead to 3-1. Each team trades a tally on the scoreboard in the middle period, and Jeff, I mean, you can't really complain too much about the start to the period for Miami. That was kind of what you were looking for out of the break if you were Chris Bergeron, but sustaining has been a constant issue for this Miami team over the course of a full 20 and a full 60 minutes for the RedHawks, and again, just took their foot off the gas.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you get a goal and you gain a little bit of confidence, but then there are a couple chances that you probably could have scored on and just didn't, and that's frustrating. And then you give up a goal to Dylan Anhorn, who, you know, he's a skilled player, obviously, so it's not a surprise that he's found his way onto the score sheet. But just a defensive breakdown that we've seen often this season, and it's frustrating when you try and gain that momentum back, and all you get in return is a goal against. So this next 20 minutes are really prove-it time. Even if you don't come out victorious, I would say that, you know, like we talked about it, especially against North Dakota, I mean, they're probably going to outskill you, but you need to see the kind of effort that you saw last weekend, and that's really all you can ask for. Especially is that was a better period, but you need to keep building off of it. You need to be first to pucks on dump-ins, or you need to be first to loose pucks in the neutral zone, and they haven't been for 2 periods now. So I would look for that going into the third period, and I think it's really important just to try and get another one on the board here.
Second intermission here from Cady Arena. It is Huskies 3 and RedHawks 1. Time for our second intermission report. Jeff and I back for the third in just a bit. Here's Luke Lewis.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, a good start for Miami in this second period. They came out flying, which created a lot of opportunities. We saw a little bit change up in the lines early that did not stay, but Dukovac moved up with Waldron and Fletcher to start, then dropped back with Barbolina and Vitalins, and their line created some good opportunities. And as that went on, the hard forechecking, high-energy start by Miami created a penalty as they went to the power play for the first time tonight. During the power play, the beginning of it, couldn't really get it set up in the offensive zone. Not a lot of shots. However, Great job skating up the ice, flying through the neutral zone, created a 3-on-2. I didn't know what was going to happen. It looked like the Miami player was about to shoot it, but then he finds Raymond Vitalens in the slot, who steps up and fired home his 5th of the year. A great goal, top shelf, right over the glove. Well-executed power play by Miami. They came into this game just over 12% with the man up. Definitely something Chris Bergeron's team has been looking to fix, and some success in the second period. They also did a good job of staying out of the box, limiting St. Cloud State to no power plays themselves. Miami needs to do a better job on the faceoff dot, just getting killed by the Huskies in that area. They also need to sharpen up their passes as we move on to the third. A lot of high danger opportunities just killed by bad passing. That is something that Chris Bergeron can't be happy about. It's one of the main skills in hockey that you need to execute to play at a high level. We see these best teams in every level are the ones that are really zipping pucks around tape to tape. Miami's going to have to do a better job at that. Another thing they need to improve upon is the unnecessary offsides. A lot of danger chances through the neutral zone, a lot of 3-on-2s just killed because of moves at the blue line. I know Jeff Middleton was talking about how he just hated that, and I agree. You know, hockey players are taught to not make moves at the blue line. Either get past the blue line, dump it in, make the pass, but you don't want to kill that opportunity with speed through the neutral zone. So Miami's going to have to sharpen that up. I'm sure Chris Bergeron will talk to them about that. But nonetheless, a good start for the period for Miami. Very similar to last period, kind of back and forth both ways, but the energy was there. But as I said, last intermission report, they had to be able to play a complete period, and they kind of teetered off there in the second half of the period. Still leading shots 12-10, but as they narrowed the deficit 2-1, some good forechecks and sustained pressure by St. Cloud State, particularly the Ingram, Aucoin, Ports line. They were all over Miami. They created some chances, but Bruno Bruveris standing on his head and not allowing any goals for that line. Jack Riemann, another guy to look out for. He's playing on the fourth line, centering them, just a freshman from Minnesota. He's been flying around, finishing his checks, good forecheck. That's someone Miami's going to have to look out for sure. And then Vieti Mietunen, I guarantee I'm going to keep butchering that name, has impressed me a ton. He almost plays like Sebastian Aho, kind of good puck possession, making crisp passes tape to tape, managing the game in the offensive zone. And he found Dylan Anhorn, the captain, for his 5th of the year to make it a 3-1 St. Cloud State lead. He's up to 25 points now. The 25-year-old defenseman from Calgary, Alberta, just continuing his point streak. Very impressive stuff out of the captain. As I mentioned in the pregame, that was our main player to look out for coming into this one. Everything runs through him, and he gives St. Cloud State a 2-goal lead at 3-1. That's how things stand now. We got about 8 minutes until the third period. We're going to step out real quick, and we'll be back soon on Miami RedHawk Radio. Welcome back in, folks, to Steve Coach Cady Arena for this edition of the second intermission report. An exciting third period to come here as Miami is chasing a 2-goal lead by St. Cloud State. The barn is packed, though, as we have beautiful weather here in Oxford, actually, in the 50s, February 9th. Never thought I'd see it in the Midwest. Just a beautiful day. But inside the cold rink right now, don't get to experience it. In the third period on both sides, you'd like to see better sustained pressure. As I mentioned before, it's very similar to the first period, down and back. Specifically on the St. Cloud State side, they had a lot of high danger opportunities in that second period, but really couldn't capitalize on a lot. It was a lot of all Swedish, no finish. Maybe one too many passes on a few of those rushes. And bad passing on both sides, really. But a higher pace than the first period, I would say. Similar shots on goal in that one. Just the one penalty. Hopefully, the third period, both teams are going to lay it all out there. Hopefully Miami really plays a complete third period. They're going to have to do that if they want to win. Playing from behind, they really got to make sure to crisp up those passes, crash the net, shoot for rebounds, get some screens in front, and play some solid hockey. Now looking around college hockey as it stands, Western Michigan still leads Omaha 2-0 heading into the second. Minnesota up 2-0 on Penn State still. 1-1 in the battle in Michigan between Michigan State and Michigan. 0-0 in Notre Dame, Wisconsin. That just kicked off. As I mentioned before, the Beanpot teams, the two Boston teams, ranked 1 and 3 in the country. Boston College and Boston University both hold 3-0 leads in their respective games. The Boston College freshman line continues to amaze. Ryan Leonard picked up a goal in the first period. And then Cutter Gauthier scored as well. I know there was a lot of controversy about him. We weren't sure what happened between him and the Flyers. But nonetheless, Jamie Drysdale's a Flyer, and he's an Anaheim Duck. Two bright futures in both cities. So we will see about that. And then for BU, none other than Macklin Celebrini tucks home another one in that contest. He is really impressing everyone. There's no doubt he will be the #1 pick in this upcoming draft. And Lane Hudson adds 2 assists to those goals as well. Just a stud on defense. We will probably see him get called up to the Canadians sometime at the end of the year. Looking at the NHL, just 3 games tonight, all pretty late. The Rangers travel to Chicago to play the Blackhawks. That game kicks off shortly. The Penguins and Wild in Minnesota. That game's in the first period, just kicked off 0-0. And later tonight, the aforementioned Ducks welcome the Edmonton Oilers to town. That game kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll see if the Oilers can get back to winning ways after losing to Vegas. I'm sure Connor McDavid will have something to say about that. Just want to mention to everyone, a lot of sickness going around campus right now. Stay healthy, stay safe. As we got about 2 minutes until the third period here. Some keys to the third period for Miami. Obviously, play a complete period. Crisp up the passes. Get pucks behind the blue line. Stop having turnovers at the blue line, that is for sure. Both teams have done a pretty good job of staying out of the box. Most of the offense have come with the man up. But the energy in the stands seemed to be there. Hopefully Miami can come back in this one. Just down 2. I'll be back on the post game here at Steve Cady Arena with hopefully good news after this third period. But right now, I send you back to Luke West Poley and Jeff Middleton. They'll have the call for the third. I'll see you back on the postgame.
Luke, thanks so much. 3-1 the score with Miami trailing St. Cloud after 2 periods of play. RedHawks are out shooting the Huskies 12-10, but that really is not indicative of how this game has gone, as the RedHawks have had the better of the energy in comparison for the two teams for about 5 minutes of the first 40. St. Cloud has been fairly dominant. They did it to end the first period and the second, as they led 2-0 after 1, and each team traded goals in period number 2. I mean, this has felt like a game played on outdoor ice at times, Jeff.
Yeah.
Just not really a lot of speed, a lot of clean passing for really either team, but St. Cloud has certainly had the edge through 2 periods. It can be difficult if you're a Red Hawk team to try and create your own energy coming out of the break like this, but it's going to be necessary here in this third.
Yeah, exactly, and I think one of the most telling stats, I mean, you said, first of all, it has definitely felt like it's been played on outdoor ice, as there have been bobbled passes, pucks kind of bouncing around, guys falling in the corners and stuff like that. But St. Cloud has gotten so many more just shot attempts. I mean, the shots are pretty close, but 31 shot attempts compared to the RedHawks 19. That's pretty telling of how this game has gone at times. And the RedHawks have had their spurts, but it just hasn't been good enough. And see if these last 20 minutes see any change.
Underway in the third period with Miami taking it ahead. It's Fletcher down the left wing, throws it in front, save made. Waldron with the rebound, scores.
How about that?
13 seconds into the period, John Waldron on the rebound, and Miami is within 1. It's 3-2.
So much for that. Those last 20 minutes bringing some change. Wow, what a break. Just a great play from just right off the face-off. An awesome play out wide, and good pass from Rydquist to kind of spread the ice. Good play up. Waldron brings it to the middle and then just feeds it out wide for Fletcher. Fletcher puts it on net, and a big rebound goes straight to the stick of Waldron. That's what you need. Just get pucks on net. That's a big goalie in there, and he's not moving laterally. And you saw that against Colorado College as well.
RedHawks right back to it offensively. Sullivan with a shot that got blocked wide. It popped off the end boards back out in front, but it settled down, and St. Cloud will get it out to center for the moment. Rydquist will fire it back in for Miami, and the forecheck going to work. Daskis and Sullivan combined for the steal. Sharp angle shot by Daskis does go wide and ends up back out at center ice. RedHawks do get it back in, but Sullivan stripped of the puck, and St. Cloud will just clear this one ahead. Nice job by Kumlin to spin that one around, and he feeds ahead for Daskis down the right wing. Mishandles not once but twice on the puck after regathering, but now has it back after the feed by Dukovac. Daskis taps it out in front. A whack at it by Vitalins was fanned on, and the puck is on the far wall. Up to the point. Kumlin drags around one and feeds to the near side for Dempsey. Now Dukovac in the far circle. Couldn't pull the trigger on a shot. He will ward off the defender and lift it up for Kumlin at the point, who will tap it back in. Puck rolling on the dasher now in the clearing attempt for St. Cloud. Puck is bouncing all over the place, and finally it is settled and cleared away by the Huskies. RedHawks do get it back in. It's Dukovac on the dump in. Barbolini giving chase and steals it from Ewart. Barbolini turns it to the far side and heads up the wall. Barbolini turns and shoots from the right circle, and that shot took a deflection and went wide. Now in the far corner, it is Taransky pushing it up for Barbolini. Center point, tried to wrist one through that got blocked. Barbolini lays a huge hit, and no call. Maybe a little fortuitous there for Matthew Barbolini, as it was on Clark, who had kind of already gotten rid of the puck there, and Barbolini will lay another hit on Clark now just for good measure on the far side as the Huskies get it up ahead. Rogers trying to weave his way through traffic. He stripped of the puck. Slap shot from the far side, and the one-timer by Piart is blocked in front. And the RedHawks have it behind the cage. It's Drasner to the near side for Jack Clement. 3-2 our score. St. Cloud leads Miami. RedHawks have the only goal of the third period as we approach the 3-minute mark, as Miami scored inside the opening 20 seconds thanks to John Waldron. Fluttered pass ahead, settled by Taransky. He shoots, and the save made by Bassi. Just lifted up from Miami's defensive blue line, and it fell right on the stick of Taransky in the slot. He had Kupka on him, but the shot still got through cleanly, and Bassi makes the save with 17:07 to go in the third.
This is the kind of start you're looking for. You know, like I said after the goal, Bassi can't move very well laterally. He's a big goaltender, so he covers a lot of the net, but if you can find a way to get the puck to the slot, maybe create some chaos or go cross seam, it's more than likely than not that you're going to be able to score goals. Colorado College took advantage of that, and Omaha, even before them, took advantage of that. That series was wild.
Passing feed up ahead is picked off, and the Huskies take it the other way. Kupka out in front.
Great
it
save.
was deflected on by Okabe, and the save is made by Braveris, who gobbles it up with 16:46 to go in the third. The game stays 3-2.
And honestly, if you give Braveris an ability to see the puck, he's gonna save it. And we saw that last weekend. He made some miraculous saves, including a couple sprawling ones. But one thing that Miami didn't give Braveris a lot of ability to do was see pucks and also kind of protect the slot area.
Face-off win by the Huskies, and it is pushed up to the left point for Jack Piard. Wrists one through, blocked in front, still alive. Turnaround shot, score! Bad bounce. Bruno Braveris didn't see it.
There you go.
It's Barrett Hall who will get the goal. Just whirled around and fired a shot through traffic that didn't have a ton of speed behind it. It sneaks in the left post, and the Huskies are back out in front by 2, 4-2 with 16:33 to go.
I think Raymond's Vitalins was not very happy with that. Not sure why, looking at the replay here. Yeah, I mean, Braveris got a piece of it, just wasn't able to get all of it, partially because he couldn't see it. And just Zane Dempsey just didn't really give a lot. There was not a lot of pressure there. And he got a shot off because of it. Whoa!
Pass out in front after Braveris was out of his net, and he came back through to make a hero save. Goodness, wheels are falling off for Miami a little bit, and kind of getting deja vu with the second period when Miami had a great start and then gave up a goal and never really had an answer after that. And John Waldron trips up Wiley. There's going to be a penalty coming up on the RedHawks. Bassi off as St. Cloud skates 6-on-5. It's shoveled down the near wall. Two guys there for the RedHawks, but neither can touch up. Play is still alive for Okabe, who skates it down the far side. He leaves just inside the point for Ewart. A cross-ice feed for Wiley. He scores. In the right circle with the extra attacker on the delayed penalty. Chris Bergeron said it in the midweek presser, against this team, you snap your fingers and you're down big. Miami finds themselves down 3 after St. Cloud's 5th goal of the night.
And this, it's like Waldron's still getting the penalty.
Yep, in college you still have to sit too, so this is going to be a power play for St. Cloud.
It's just, this has been a theme kind of all year. You take one step forward, and then in a moment's notice, you take 2 steps back, and now you're down 3 goals to a team that doesn't give it. That's really strong defensively and in the net. Especially for the RedHawks, who, I mean, they've created some chances, but it hasn't nearly been consistent enough for anyone to think that they can really dig themselves out of this hole, especially on the penalty kill now. But
so
hopefully prove me wrong.
St. Cloud will go to the power play for the second time. Each team has had 1 power play, and each team has scored on that power play. Huskies now lead at 5-2 off the goal by Cooper Wiley, assist to Tynan Ewart and Zach Okabe. In the offensive zone for the Huskies in the near corner, it's Werner Miettinen. Plays catch and has it back on the half wall. Now center point. It is one-timed down low by Lutke. He was looking right next to the near post for Salquist, but he couldn't get a clean shot away. Puck still alive, but a pass up to the left point is deflected by Messenberg and gets out of the zone for Miami. Still 14:50 left to play in this third period, but the RedHawks down 3 goals after they cut it to 1 just at the beginning of this period. Drasner with a takeaway, one-on-one the other way with Anhorn. Drasner will hit the brakes. Drasner just skating in circles right now, trying to kill time, and finally Anhorn just upends him in the corner, and St. Cloud State will have it back.
It's got to be frustrating as the only guy, as a defenseman and the only guy in the zone, and you're waiting for any reinforcements possible, and there's just nobody coming.
Mietnin skating in on the right circle, plays it cross ice. Now it's down low in the far corner for Ports. Around the horn of the near point for Anhorn. Plays it down low. Kupko with the cross ice feed, looking on the back door, but it was cut off by Reichwist. He skates it through, and as the traffic collapses on him, clears down with 10 seconds to go in the penalty to John Waldron. Miami down 5-2 to St. Cloud with 13:47 to go in the third. One final rush here for the Huskies as Okabe leaves it just inside the blue. It's chopped out of the zone by Miami, looking to get a rush ahead with Waldron out of the box, but St. Cloud will hold them off for now as the puck gets tied up in neutral ice, and now the Huskies will bring it back. Back to 5-on-5 with 13:30 to go in the third. Miami down 3 goals to the Huskies after 2 goals very quickly for St. Cloud. Forecheck, Fletcher back for Waldron in front. His shot got blocked. Huge sliding play by Rogers out in front of the St. Cloud net. That was the area where Waldron scored Miami's goal from on a rebound to begin this period, and nearly had a second to get the RedHawks back in it. Miami still with more forecheck. Now St. Cloud will get it out of the zone, and up ahead down the left wing, this is Riemann driving through, backhands it on. It's loose in front. A turnaround try was blocked by Braveris as Molinar got the touch. We get a whistle here and a hand pass on the RedHawks as the puck was out near the center circle, and a stoppage with 12:45 to go in the third as the face-off will come back down into Miami's end. And that will bring us to a timeout on the ice. Well, it was a great start for Miami, and it has been a nightmare since. The RedHawks score to cut it to 1. They then give up 2 more goals back-to-back to fall behind by 3 to the St. Cloud State Huskies. With 12:45 to go in the third, our score, Huskies 5 and RedHawks 2. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. .45 to go, third period. St. Cloud State 5, Miami 2, our score. Luke West, Poley, and Jeff Middleton back with you, and it's been a very eventful first 7:15 of this third period that saw the RedHawks cut a lead from 3-1 to 3-2 off of John Waldron's goal in the opening minute of the period, but then the RedHawks give up 2 more on the other side. One a bad bounce, and then one an extra attacker goal for the Huskies with a delayed penalty coming, and St. Cloud now leads comfortably by 3. Defensive zone face-off win by the RedHawks. It's Jack Clement lofting it off the far glass out to neutral ice. Dukovac getting there for Miami, but he is quickly knocked off the puck, and Ports will skate it up the near side. His dump-in attempt is knocked out of the air by Simonovics for the RedHawks, and Vitalins will find Dukovac with some space on the far side. Dukovac gets through center, feeds Barbolini on the near wing, entering the St. Cloud zone. Tried to push it further in deep, and it deflects up into the netting with 12:20 to go in the third. And St. Cloud up 3 will get a face-off in the Miami offensive zone. These two teams will meet again tomorrow night 7 o'clock start. We'll have a doubleheader for you here on Red Hawk Radio tomorrow, as it starts with women's basketball in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge against Georgia State at 1. And then we will have the nightcap here from Cady Arena with coverage at 6:30 and puck drop at 7:05 in the finale between these two. Face-off win by the Huskies. They continue to lead in that category as they are 21 for 38 from the dot. It's played ahead by St. Cloud, kind of to nobody, and it will just go down for icing as Anhorn put that puck into space, and nobody was going after it for St. Cloud, and the Husky captain gets an earful from Brett Larson as he crosses the bench. Face off on the near side of the offensive zone for Miami. It's the Nielsen, Daskis, Sullivan line out there for the RedHawks, and puck is knocked to the near wall where the RedHawks grab it, but a pass up from Sullivan isn't held in the zone by Kumlin, and the RedHawks will have to regroup. Sullivan feeds to the far side. It is thrown across the ice by Fletcher. Check that, Nielsen, but it's taken away. Now Okabe down the right wing, throws it towards the net front. Hit his teammate Kupka short of the net in the skate, and the RedHawks have it. Ryquist, or Kumlin rather, ahead for Daskis. All the way down, icing gets waived as now Daskis applies some forecheck. It's been very interesting. This is a league, we'll get to that in a moment. Waldron from the high slot, drags and shoots, save made. Puck is loose, Bassi doesn't know where it is. Another high slot opportunity for John Waldron.
He's been all around it tonight.
He has been on top of those pucks that have squirted loose near the tops of the circles. That time he got stuffed. Just going to say, this is a league in NCHC that has made it a point of emphasis to really police icing very, very tightly. They always have. It's been a little bit interesting today. There have been a lot of icings that have been waived, and especially Brett Larson hasn't been super pleased with it on the St. Cloud bench. RedHawks have it back in their own zone. It is Ryquist skating it out directly up the middle of the ice, and he enters the zone offside. Taransky was a step in front of him with 10:42 to go in the third. St. Cloud still leads 5-2. We'll get a neutral ice draw, excuse me.
Throwing out this Vitalins, Barbolini, Dukovac line. I'd like to see them get a little bit more possession in the offensive zone. Felt like last period they did, and they created a goal in the power play because of it, and then Barbolini created another chance for Vitalins at even strength, but just not as much as you'd probably like to see from two of your highest skilled players, and Barbolini in terms of your top point scorer.
RedHawks win the face-off, and the dump-in attempt hits off the glass and glides up into the protective netting. So the face-off will come to somewhere in neutral ice. Officials are discussing, and they're going to do it at the near side neutral ice dot instead of center ice. So the Talons will be on the draw against Jack Raymond of St. Cloud, and Raymond wins it for the Huskies.
Probably also like to see. Probably also like to see this defense pair of Moulton and Clement get something going as well.
Huskies ice the puck. 10:25 to go in the third.
Fan got a puck down there in the corner, stuck in the netting.
Been a fair amount of those that have gone up into the netting. There's been a lot of whistles, a lot of pucks going out of play.
It's the power of friendship right there.
I was never tall enough to get those. Face-off win for the RedHawks, and Dempsey with a huge drive and a nice block by Molinar, but that is a stinger, and he is having trouble getting off the ice. He will get to the bench as the RedHawks blast it back in. But goodness, Dempsey wound up over his head for that shot, and that was a rip. Meanwhile, Raymond down the right side plays it out in front. Braveris knocks it away as breaking towards the back post. Pihart was looking to get a stick on it. Across the halfway mark of the third, Daskis wants the feed. He gets it, and he crashes into Eric Frank, the official. And an unfortunate way to lose out on a rush as a puck gets deflected up really sharply into the stands, and luckily avoids hitting any fans down there. We get another stoppage with 9:44 to go in the third, with Miami down 5-2.
It's a good body check at least there. It's kind of felt like there have been some odd bounces today and kind of forced the RedHawks and even the Huskies to kind of run into the officials at times. It's been weird. I guess that's part of the job, though. Try and stay out of the way as much as possible.
RedHawks do win the faceoff, and Barbolini will chip it into the Husky end, and he hauls down the Husky in deep and will be called for a penalty and has some words, and now Anhorn's going to go after him. It was Ludke that was down, and Barbolini kind of stood over him Allen Iverson style and had some words to say, and Anhorn was standing right there and went right at Barbolini. I don't think he'll pick up anything for it, though, and he won't. So it'll just be Barbolini 2 for tripping, I'd imagine. They're going to call holding. Similar enough type of penalty. Barbolini just tangled up there under the goal line with Josh Ludke.
Yeah, I don't think you want to mess with Matt Barbolini, I'll tell you that much. That's a big dude, 6'2", 205 pounds. I know I wouldn't want to go into a scrum with him.
So St. Cloud to the power play for the third time. They are 1 for 2 so far, but remember they also scored with the extra attacker right before that second power play. So in some way, shape, or form, every penalty the RedHawks have taken so far has benefited the Huskies by way of a goal. St. Cloud 5, Miami 2. Huskies win the offensive zone faceoff and set up on the power play. Ludke, center point. Sahlquist can't get a shot away. Ludke from the right side, back up center point. Piard over to the far wing. Okabe fakes the one-timer, gives back for Piard. Ludke right side, back for Piard at the center point. Now Ludke again, and Piard once more on the far wing as the two just continue to exchange at the point. Miettinen circles and passes to the far circle now, where Ludke is holding on to it for the Huskies. Back up for Werner Miettinen. The freshman feeds Okabe, whose spin-around feed looked like it didn't actually evade the zone there, but Piard took it out willingly with the puck sitting on the blue line just to be safe, I guess, and he'll bring it back out to neutral ice as the first minute has come off on the power play. Piard knocks it around the glass to the near side as Werner Miettinen is held away from the puck by Drasner. Puck pops in the air on the near side where Kupka settles it down for St. Cloud. It's fed to the far wing now where Ludke has it along the hashes. Up to the point for Piard with 40 to go in the power play. Now Miettinen from the top of the right circle skates down and will stop his feet right at the hash marks. Miettinen skating in, puts it down low. Now a cross ice attempt by Kupka. There was nobody on the back door waiting for that. The RedHawks, though, can't clear. Miettinen plays it down low and now has it back at the left point. Piard from the right circle, puts it down low, tip attempt by Kupka. Second effort was over top of Berveris, but didn't fall into the net from a bad angle, and Miami clears.
Can't tell if that was Drasner that blocked that, but what a save on the goal line there.
Time winding on the power plays. The RedHawks clear the zone, and Fletcher will try to get it through neutral ice. Barbolini out of the box, and we're back to 5-on-5 as Miami forces St. Cloud into their second straight unsuccessful power play here in the third. On the far wing, it is put into the RedHawks zone by Kupka, but Miami will break it out quickly up the near side. Ports will give it back to the RedHawks as Nielsen shovels it to the far wing. Fletcher touches it further just past the red, but Huskies have control, and with 7 minutes now left in the third period, it'll be played forward for Ingram. He sidesteps at the blue line and is called for offside with 6:57 to go in the third, and the Huskies up 5-2. Final media timeout of regulation here from Cady Arena. Sloppy, choppy game from Oxford. St. Cloud by 3. Stay tuned. You're listening to Miami Hockey on Red Hawk Radio. Wes Poley, Jeff Middleton back with you as Miami trails St. Cloud 5-2 with 6:57 to go in the third. Neutralized faceoff coming up here as RedHawks just have been lackluster since surrendering those 2 goals early on in period number 3 after cutting this to a 1-goal game. Miami does tip it beyond the center red after the faceoff in on goal, and Bassi will be forced to cover for an offensive zone draw upcoming for Miami with just under 7 minutes left to play.
At this point, I think you're playing for pride. I mean, we've talked about that before. But you're down 3 goals. You've only accumulated 16 shots. Granted, St. Cloud's had 18 total, but they've had many more attempts. Just try and get everything you can on net. Try and make this goaltender at least a little uncomfortable because you still have tomorrow.
It, in all likelihood, will be Bassi again tomorrow as he has started the majority of the games for St. Cloud. Huskies moving ahead. Salquist 2-on-1 shoots. Blocker save from the right side by Braveris. And the RedHawks get it out to center. Barbolini leaving it back for Kumlin. Directing ahead for Dukovac. Back for Kumlin on the right side. His wrister threw off the post. Kumlin has it again now. Off for Vitalins, who swirls in the far corner. Vitalins drives to the net front. Back center point for Kumlin. He walks. Directs it to the near side looking for Dempsey, but he couldn't pull the trigger on a shot. Dempsey does hold the left blue line at the point and does so again here, throwing this one in deep off the end wall. It's Waldron getting to it for Miami. Waldron circles the net to the near side and now heads up to the point where he'll leave off for Kumlin. Kumlin dangles behind the back and kind of lost his control on the puck as a result. Kupka pins him up against the wall, but good effort by Kumlin to get it back to the point for Dempsey. Now it's back for Kumlin on the half wall. Waldron center point, drags and shoots. That puck nowhere close, high above the net, and probably took a deflection as it just grazed the protective netting. A whistle with 5:33 to go in the third. Good shift there for Miami in the offensive zone, but they still trail by 3.
Yeah, a good shift overall, but just a couple of missed passes that kind of ruin any chance at momentum and finding space. There's a play from Kumlin over to Dempsey, and in this high cycle, you really, really need to connect on all your passes, and tonight especially, it's been a lot of you make 4 straight passes up at this top, and then you miss 1.
One-timer from the far side by Taransky is stopped by Bassi and up into the netting. So another stoppage with 5:25 left in the third. Nice move at the point by Simonovic to set that up. Miami only trailing in the shot count by 1, 19-18. They've led in shots for most of this game.
But again, it's just been, like you said, it's been choppy, but there's just been some miscommunications that ruin Miami's chances at creating any momentum at all, and it's got to be frustrating a little bit just not getting these tape-to-tape passes at the end of these cycles.
Mietnin in the offensive zone rounds the net and hands off for Anhorn. He lays a reverse hit on Simonovic to stay on the puck, but will be stripped away by John Waldron for the RedHawks, who skates down the right wing. Pushing it in deep, it's Taransky rounding the net. Somehow ends up with possession down the near wing, and Taransky will now wrist one towards the back post looking for a tip, but it went cleanly wide. Taransky again, he's been a puck magnet on this shift, has it on the far wing. He is pinned up against the wall, and now the Huskies will pry it free and get it to the near side, but Anhorn can't keep it away from Simonovic, who pushes it back in deep. Back on the far side, Ewert will skate this one all the way out of the zone without any pressure and just give it back to the RedHawks as his team goes for a change. 4:23 to go, third period. Huskies by 3. Nielsen tearing down the left wing, leaves for Daskis. His shot looking high, blocker ends up wide. Sullivan pushes it back in deep. Daskis races it down in the near corner and banks it off the near wall for Drasner. He shovels it back behind the net. Sullivan wasn't clean on his feet. Back up to the point. Clement with a blast. That was stopped. There was a rebound available, but it's cleared back out to center ice by St. Cloud, as now Daskis will play it to the far side for Nielsen, who slaps it in. Bassi behind the Husky net gets tangled up, and now will push it back to the near wing. He, along with Cooper Wiley, ran into each other and almost left an easy puck for Daskis to skate out in front of the net. Miami forecheck still working here as Vitalins had it for a moment, and now the puck loose behind the Husky net, and Daskis pokes it free. Wiley skates down the loose puck and gives it back for Piart. Again, more pressure from Miami, but the RedHawks can't get a clean takeaway just yet. On the near wall, Miettinen directs it back, and finally Wiley just flares it off the glass, back out past neutral ice. RedHawks push it up the far wall, and both teams will go for changes as the Huskies regroup with possession. Under 3 minutes left to play, 5-2 in favor of the road team. Dempsey threads it up ahead for John Waldron, skating laterally across. He leaves for Dukovac. He enters the zone. Now it's Dempsey center point, waiting, shooting, and well wide. As the puck is now up at the left wing side, Waldron's pass in front for Barbolini hit him in the stick, but Okabe poked it back out to center. Now those two are barking at each other. The dump in attempts by Miami that time is deflected into the netting with 2:29 to go in the third, and the face-off will come back out to the neutral zone, I believe, and it will.
Okabe at 5'10", 180, picking fights with Matt Barbolini. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. But again, not a bad little stretch of shifts there, especially by that Nilsson, Sullivan, Daskis line, but just nothing to show for it.
Ooh, puck pushed in deep. Taransky got hit pretty well there by
a little high too.
Yeah, Ingram for St. Cloud. RedHawks do get it across center and push it in. St. Cloud back up the near wing. It's Lutke past the whacking arm of Taransky, who tried to direct it forward. Huskies push it into the Miami end with under 2 minutes left to play. It is Kumlin up ahead for Albin Nielsen. Nielsen just lost control on it, and now Anhorn with speed the other way. Anhorn steps to the far side and will stop in the corner, directing back up for Rogers at the left point. Rogers pushes in deep where Kumlin grabs it for Miami, tapping for Dempsey. Now to the far side it goes for Sullivan, rink wide back to the near wing for Nielsen. Nielsen will dump it in as the RedHawks go for changes, and Anhorn will just flutter it off the near wall. Past Rogers, Simonovic on the recovery for the RedHawks. Minute 20 left to go in the third, with St. Cloud leading by 3 in the series opener. RedHawks dump it in, and it's Anhorn, D to the far corner for Tynan Ewert. Ewert has a puck deflect right back to him, where he gives for Riemann, who will float it in. Fans beginning to hit the exits here with a minute left in this one, as the RedHawks are down 3. Another dump in by St. Cloud, and it'll be chased down by Riard Simonovic for Miami. He stops below the goal line and will head forward. Ryquist back for Vitalins. He circles in the zone for Miami and now gives for Max Dukovac in the near corner of the RedHawk end. Dukovac moving this one up ahead for Vitalins. He finds Barbolini just inside the blue, leaving for Simonovic, who got stood up by Miettinen. And now maybe a step the other way for a stretch pass, but Wiley looking to find Miettinen, had it picked off. Simonovic steps around one defender, but is pinned by a second in the corner for St. Cloud. Back up to the point it goes with 10 seconds left to play. From the center point, Barbolini throws one on net. That's turned aside by Bassi. Back on the near half wall, Moulton skates it up to the point and wraps it in deep. And time expires on the third period. Well, the RedHawks came out sleepy here on Friday night in a very forgettable performance after one of Miami's best effort weekends of the season in this building a week ago. Miami drops game 1 to St. Cloud by a 5-2 score here on Friday night. Jeff, RedHawks did some good things, and I think you're frustrated if you're Chris Bergeron or even if you're a RedHawk fan in the way that there were multiple times where Miami not only could have gotten back into the game, but really took a step to do that. They scored that goal at the beginning of the third period that they needed to get the energy and get within one. They had a couple points in this game where they really had the energy and crucial points where it felt like they needed it, but they weren't able to sustain that for long enough periods. They gave up probably one goal that Bruno Braveris would want back in the third to push the lead back out to 2 for the Huskies, and then a bad penalty and an extra attacker goal kind of sealed it in some way for St. Cloud later on in the third. But overall, this team just looked very, very sluggish. Looked like almost they were the road team getting off the plane this weekend. Yeah, and I think you give up 2 goals in that first period, and I mean that's a big difference. Is instead of 5-2, it's 3-2, and that's those first period goals make a big difference. But you know, we talked about execution earlier tonight, and I think execution comes in all forms, not just offensively, which, you know, you hit a crossbar and then you hit a post, and that's unfortunate, but you gotta take advantage of your chances offensively, and then defensively you've got to stay structured, especially against a team with, I mean, we saw it, this kind of puck movement that the Huskies have. They move it low to high so quickly, or cross seam. It's just, you have to be able to stay structured and not get too carried away, either puck watching or man watching, and the RedHawks just weren't able to do that tonight, and it's a frustrating game from an effort standpoint. I mean, every weekend, we talked to Coach Bergeron last weekend, and he said if they played every game like they played those 2 against North Dakota, he'd be more than fine with a loss, because you know that is going to turn into wins at some point, but the efforts like tonight are not going to turn into wins. That's just not going to happen. So Miami drops game 1 of the series to St. Cloud as the RedHawks fall to 1-15-1 in the NCHC. For the Huskies, who are sitting on the bubble, you need to win both this weekend, and that was a big first step for Brett Larson's group, who have their first win in regulation since New Year's Eve back in 2023. So we'll be back tomorrow on the air for Red Hawk Radio doubleheader. Once again, we'll get you started tomorrow afternoon with women's basketball from Millett Hall, with a 1 o'clock tip in the Max Sunbelt Challenge between Glenn Box's Miami RedHawks and the Panthers of Georgia State. Once again, 1 o'clock tip from Millett Hall in game 1 of our doubleheader, and then we'll be back tomorrow evening here at Cady Arena to get this series wrapped up. Hopefully a better effort will come from this Miami team tomorrow night. 6:35 pregame, 7:05 puck drop in game 2 between Miami and St. Cloud. So for Jeff Middleton, my name is Luke West Poley. Thanks so much for tuning in here tonight. That'll wrap it up for us. It is time for the post game to get you all set with everything that happened in this one. We send it over to Luke Lewis.
Well, folks, not the finish we wanted here, but a great start to the third period for Miami. They came out firing just 13 seconds into the third period. A John Waldron goal put the RedHawks down 1, 3-2. It looked like Miami was getting back into the swing of things in this one. Right after that goal, more sustained pressure. Taransky had a great chance, just missed there. Good puck possession, great forecheck, and much better passing by the RedHawks to start this period. The first 5 minutes of this period really looked like they were going to give it a great effort to come back in this one. Just fell short, however. Final score here in Oxford, 5-2 St. Cloud State. So after the 3-2 goal by John Waldron, Miami took a bad penalty again, which led to a delayed penalty goal by Barrett Hall. Barrett Hall. He tucked one in on a spinorama shot, as I get the post-game notes here. Miami outshot St. Cloud State 20-19 in this one. So good effort on their part, but falled 5-2. After that Barrett Hall goal, it was 4-2. The game kind of got away from Miami. You saw not as much intensity and effort on their part than we did in the first couple minutes of the third period. And a lot of lackluster effort. Not shortly after that Barrett Hall goal, Cooper Wiley, off of a delayed penalty pass, tucked one home to make it 5-2. At this point, it was not much of a contest here. You'd like to see Miami play a clean, full period. They managed to start off really hot in all 3 periods here tonight, but just could not keep the effort going. Obviously, the shots, very similar, but more dangerous opportunities out of St. Cloud and better finishing for the Huskies. Overall, not a terrible effort, but they come back here tomorrow as we see the second game of this 2-game series here at Steve Cady Arena. Miami falls to 1-15-1 in conference play. As Luke West Poley mentioned, St. Cloud State really needs a win tomorrow and sweep this 2-game set here at Oxford for their chances in the Frozen Four tournament. That about wraps it up for us here on Miami RedHawk Radio. I'm Luke Lewis on the postgame. Have a good night, folks.